Information is power.
Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Information is power. Information is power.
Yo. Raising the Tobagos, we growing like fresh tomatoes. Them boys on fire, too fuego. We passing round hot potatoes. Everything is nuevo. I'm with my sweetie like Quavo. Need my cheese, need that queso. Need my bread, need that bankroll. Wake up, yes Lord, I'm thankful. Another day on my schedule. Steady blocking the devil. I tell a hater, God bless you. Cherish moments that special. You gotta keep the memento. If you love me, then I love you, and I could never forget you. Some memories don't fade. Sometimes you miss the old days, but nothing change, less you change. What's around you, how you think, how you live, how you speak, how you walk, how you blink, how you talk, how you teach, how you reach, let it sink. What's your purpose, what's your passion, through the pain, what's your plan?
On a plane, how'd you play? I'm just playing. What's your purpose, what's your passion, through the pain, what's your plan? Is it play, on a plane, how'd you play? I'm just playing.
I beat my Joby till like Obi-Wan Kenobi, cause I'm a star and they can't hold me like I'm Kobe in the fourth. Yeah, nothing is ever forced. We headed straight to the source. No middleman, little man. Let me show you if you was lost. It's a couple college courses, but I ain't finished that shit. Been chasing dreams since 17, so yeah, I've been on my shit. Yeah, we loaded up the vault and had to empty the clip. Remember days we wasn't paid and had to roll up the clips. Now the herbs be extra strong and they come in a zip. People say we taking long, but we ain't rushing with shit. Put the plans in God's hands and he gon' bless us with riches. I ain't tripping over shit because I'm watching my step. Putting money on the phone, could dab and call and collect. All on respect, I can't lie, I'm just here for a check. Just to build my family out and to buy a family house. A lot of people only talking, put your money where your mouth is.
Tell the truth.
Some memories don't fade. Sometimes you miss the old days, but nothing changed, less you change. What's around you, how you think, how you live, how you speak, how you walk, how you blink, how you talk, how you teach, how you reach, let it sink. What's your purpose, what's your passion, through the pain, what's your plan?
Is it play, on a plane, how'd you play? I'm just playing. What's your purpose, what's your passion, through the pain,
what's your plan?
Is it play, on a plane, how'd you play? I'm just playing. BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV. You are now tuned to BS3 Network.
So maybe if you asked me yesterday, I would handle this shit differently. Things are different, I'm a new me. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
BS3 Network is now on Roku TV under BS3 TV. Download today. BS3 Network, changing the way you listen to podcasts.
lot. Telling you it ain't what I thought. Don't wanna be stuck in a spot. Cause I don't really like what I got, so I changed it. Bit by bit. It's not ungrateful. Just being helpful for me and you. Cause we gotta go our own way. Gotta go our own way. Yeah. This was not a good stay. Gotta go our own way. Cause I do what I do. And it's time for something new. Yeah. Gotta know when to let go.
Information is power.
Gotta know when to let go. Sometimes giving up can make it grow. Can make it grow. Can make it grow. I don't appreciate the chase. Now
Tell the truth.
there's nothing here for me. Yeah. I gotta go, I fly away to a new space. You know, I don't appreciate the chase. Now there's nothing here for me.
You are listening to Information Man. Please
I
make sure
gotta
to
go, I
subscribe to
fly
his channel.
away to a new space. 'Cause gotta know when to let go. Gotta know when to let go. Gotta know when to let go. Sometimes giving up can make it grow. Can make it grow. Can make it grow. Sometimes. Gotta know when to let go. Gotta know when to let go. Gotta know when to let go. Sometimes giving up can make it grow. Can make it grow. Can make it grow.
What's up, everybody? Peace. Peace. Thank you.
Tell the truth.
Thank you for being here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your patience. I know today is Father's Day, and I want to say shout out and much respect to all the fathers out there today. A clap to you. Most deserved. You know, a lot of times fathers don't get the credit that they deserve and should get in our society. Oftentimes Mother's Day is pretty much put up there at the top of the peak in our society. But I think we should be very careful not to forget about the fathers and the effectiveness of fathers and what we have brought to the table. I am a father, and I want to wish every other brother out there that is a father today. Particularly today, I want to focus on Black fathers. And I have a few people. I send out a few links to some folks. I'll drop a link in the chat room. I specifically want Black men who are fathers legitimately to come up on the panel. We're going to have a discussion. Now, the panel can take only a max of maybe 9 people, plus myself makes 10. So during the course of today, people will be coming in, people will be coming out. I've got to get ready to send another individual that I need to send a link to is my man, George Makem. Got to send him a link 110%. Very good brother. He's been sending me messages. I really love George Makem is the brother who has the Urban Nerds Worldwide. And I'm going to send him a link right now. And I want to shout out people in the chat room in just a moment. But I do realize that I forgot to send him out a link. He runs the Urban Nerds Worldwide out of Philadelphia. And I have a lot of respect for George because he is a father. He shows you what he is doing on video with his kids. He shows you what he's about with his organization. He is a man's man, very conscious brother, very powerful speaker, but not only a brother who just speaks, but a brother that is about it 110%. So I sent George the link. And I have folks out there that are probably watching. If you are watching, there will be a link I will put in the chat room in just a moment for those, again, that are fathers who would like to come up. And as the day goes on, I will have to interchange the panel and bring people up, if not to be on the panel most of the day, but to at least give their piece, their statements about what it is to be a father, and particularly a black father, because as we know, as you know, as some of you know, that over the years there have been many stereotypes going back many, many years up to now. There are stereotypes about black men in terms of fatherhood, that we're absentee fathers, that we don't take care of our kids, that we're no account, musty, dusty, and crusty, as some would say. And we're going to break that narrative today, because the men that I'm bringing up on this panel today are not musty, crusty, and dusty. They are fathers dedicated to their children and their families. And whether people want to deal with this fact or not, because what really bothers me is that I brought this up a couple of maybe a year ago or two. People want to discount the fact that peer research, along with CDC. And believe it or not, CDC does keep up with records of families and things of that nature. But Pew Research came out with an article, and they broke down the involvement of black fathers. Many people think that black fathers are absent out of black children's life at about 70% or more. But what we're finding out is that there's a different dynamic in American society, because you do have fathers who don't live in the household, are not married to the mothers, or maybe they were divorced and they are still actively involved in a child's life. And the statistics in which they came out proved out that black men, by far in comparison, to other race or other ethnic groups in American society, that we lead in certain categories when it comes to our involvement with our kids. So what I'm going to do, and some of you might have seen this, and I'm just going to say this, the thing that disappoints me is that when you bring this up, you will have people, our own people, who will try to discount this because this was a study in which they asked black men, they talked to black men, they surveyed black men and what have you. And the thing that we notice in our community is that if the white man does the research, then the white man's ice is colder than the black man's ice. We're more out to believe what the white man tells us versus black men who are involved in these studies. However, both of the institutions that did the surveying and talking to black men were quote unquote white institutions. So even when you put, you give where the data is at, people will want to discount that because people want to think badly and negatively of black men, and particularly black fathers, that, oh, we can't be honest about what we're doing. And I'm going to blow you away, because let me show you something right here before I go on with this. I want to show you. Check this out. Now, when people start talking about black men, oh, if you survey them, they're not going to be honest. That's not true, because let me read this to you here. Fathers who do not live with their children rated themselves much more negatively, because as soon as I bring out those statistics, and you're going to have going to have women and men that are going to try to dispute that. Oh, it was black men who said this. They ain't being honest. Oh, those statistics ain't correct. Bullshit. Because they followed it up by interviewing these brothers and these men in general. Wasn't just black men that they surveyed, but they looked at white men, Latino men, Asian. And they said that fathers who do not live with their children rate themselves much more negatively. Only 19% say they are doing a very good job as fathers to their children that they live apart from. So that means there are black men, there are men, white men, all different types of men who are being honest and saying, hey, you know what? I live apart from my child, but I could be doing a better job than what I am already doing. Okay. It says 19% say they are doing a very good job as fathers to their children they live apart from, and 30% say they are doing a good job. 1 in 4 say they are doing an okay job. 1 in 4 are saying that they're doing an okay job. Okay. While nearly as many as describe their parenting as not very good at 13% or bad at 9%. So there are some that rated their parenting at 9%, not very good, bad, some at 13%, but 30% said that they're doing a pretty good job. And then there was some that said at 19%. So it's split across, it's split across. I bring this up because the minute you say that men, particularly black men, were surveyed, people begin to question whether we know what the hell we're talking about, whether we're lying or not. This study was done with across the board with different types of men. And whether you want to believe this or not, because this is Father's Day, black men are doing a hell of a job as fathers in this society. Black fathers live with their children. They bathe and diaper and dress their children daily at 70%, ladies and gentlemen. They feed and eat with their children at 78% daily. This is what the statistics came out, and I got it strolling across the thing here. They play with their children daily at 82%, and black fathers read to their children daily at 34.9%. You see it tickering across. That was done in Pew Research and also CDC research. I didn't make it up out of thin air. Now, certainly there are absentee fathers that are not doing their job. And what we do in this society and what we do in our community is that we marginalize and underestimate and we minimize the maximum and we maximize the minimum. So if there's a small pool of black men or men in general who are not doing their jobs as fathers, that are leaving our women in bad situations to make those numbers high, those are a minimum number of black men who are dusty, musty, and crusty. And then you have to go into the nuances of what type of men were they that the women laid down with, had children with, had relations with, that either married or either had a live-in. What type of quality of men were they? Because a lot of times black men are being judged by the barometer of black men or men in general who do not meet the high bar. It does not make an excuse for men who do not live up to their responsibilities. But I'm going to keep it real with you, ladies out there in particular. If you're meeting men in the nightclub, if you're meeting men in some back at some good old time spot, you cannot expect a man who's just looking for a good time to be a father when he impregnates you and he runs off. What I'm saying is, don't be surprised if that man runs off when his whole intentions was not to be a father or marry you, but to simply lay down with you. These are things that happen. We as men have to be very mindful of who we lay our seed to, who we lay down with, and who we give our seed to. I'm going to hold men accountable as well. Who you're laying up with, who you're giving your seed to, we have to be accountable to. But what we always do is we take the numbers of black men or men in general who are not doing their jobs, and we say, ha ha, that is what black men are.
Tell the truth.
That is what men are. No. You have men, and particularly black fathers, that are doing the damn thing every day. But see, the thing is, in this society, we don't get the credit due to us, right? Because men, for the most part, we're not a protective group. Society doesn't look at us as the weaker sex. Society doesn't see us as, all the things that we have to go through to put the food and the meat and potatoes on the table for our kids. We'll often hear that, women are working. Well, there are men that work too and raise their kids. There are men who could make more money in overtime, but they forego the overtime to spend more time with their kids. I'm going to show you 2 clips from a magnificent documentary that I believe has come out today that you can find on YouTube. They got it broken up in pieces. It's called Present or Presence, meaning would you rather have the father be present in the child life instead of just giving the child presents? You get what I'm saying?
Tell the truth.
And I got 2 clips. The clip that I'm going to show you will be the intro clip of this particular movie or documentary that they come out. What they did is it was produced in Cleveland, and there was a women's organization, a black women's organization that got involved with the brothers in putting this whole project together. So therefore, once again, we set up here on YouTube and say, oh, black women are against black men and black men are against black women. And we can't get it was a black women's organization that came together with black men to put this documentary together to highlight successful black fathers, 100 black fathers, in which they interviewed each black father, giving their struggles, their experiences, the ups and downs of being a father and dealing with their son, their daughter, all those different things. I want to put something up on the screen here. We're gonna get rid of the BS today, the nonsense, because what needs to be laid out in the plan here, as I'm going to say, and you probably have heard this before, but let me put this over here. And let me turn something down. Okay, what you see on the screen, parenting children. It has already been a fact, it's been studied, that when children grow up without a father to stabilize them, because when men are in the community, commanding the community and commanding our leadership, not by our words, but by our deeds, our manly deeds, we stabilize communities. I'm talking about functional men, functional black men, not dusty and musty black men. I'm talking about the black men who put it down. We stabilize. You see, without these type of black men in the community, and then this can lead to our children having all kind of problems. I know this as a therapist. They'll have behavioral problems, more likely to have behavioral problems. Teenage pregnancy becomes a big issue, 7 times greater risk of teenage pregnancy. In my fraternity, what we do, for those of you who want to hate on brothers that are members of fraternities, then I would ask you right now, what the hell are you doing to deal with the problem in the black community? Because within my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha, as you see that brother wearing that shirt, we have a program called Project Alpha, in which we deal with young black males as it relates to teenage pregnancy. If they get a young lady pregnant, what is their responsibility? Can we get them to a point of abstinence where they won't impregnate a young lady, don't have sex? Do you need the importance of using condoms? All those kind of issues we deal with to deal with the teenage pregnancy. Now, I grew up as a Generation Xer where teenage pregnancy was a big problem in the 1980s. And partially some of the 1990s. Okay. Without a father, infant mortality is 10 times greater risk of infant deaths without the father present. Poverty at 4 times greater risk of living in poverty without having I'm talking about stable fathers, ladies and gentlemen, just not any father. I'm not talking about a sperm donor here. I'm talking about real fathers. Like you see this brother on here with his kids, real fathers, not sperm donators. Substance abuse is more likely to happen when it comes to abuse of drugs and alcohol. This is going to be very pronounced, or it will be pronounced. And I think someone gave me a super chat, and I want to give them a lot of respect for the super chat. And I want to read this right here. This is Larry's Anything Goes LLC gave me a $20 super chat. He says, thanks for displaying what true black fatherhood truly means. Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
You are listening to Information Man.
Thank you.
Thank you for the super chat.
And I give you a clap there. We got Erica Young in the house. Empress Queen in the house. Joe's in the house. Black Man Unfiltered. I definitely left you a link, brother. Check your email. I left Sir Hale a link. I left a few people a link. We got Red Pill Finances in the house. Peace to you. Empress Queen Victorious Shy is in the house. Naturals in the house. Thank you. Deborah Guns in the house. The BC family's in the house. Blue Devil Glee is in the house. Last Call's in the house. Tony D's in the house. Appreciate you all that are here. Raw Black 59's in the house. Trap Vision 3D's in the house. Yvette's in the house. Thank you for being here. Keeping Up with the Queen is in the house. Let me see who else. Facts and the Uncomfortable Truth with Bernard. Thank you for being here. Lord Foot Age is in the house. Earl Owens is in the house. Steve Gilmore YouTube channel is in the house. O Reliable is in the house. Thank you for being here. It's All Hot Air. Thank you for being here. Let me see who else we have here. A lot of people have come through. JW is in the house. I really appreciate everyone that's in the house, whether small or a big crowd. I know it's Father's Day, so people are out with family members. Let me move on with this. Child abuse is more likely to children are more likely to face child abuse and neglect without the stabilization of a father in the household. Education, 2 times more likely to drop out of high school without a stable father in the household. Child obesity, 2 times more likely to suffer obesity in terms of the weight issue without a proper father in a child's life. Crime, more likely to commit crime without the stabilization of a proper father. I'm talking about proper fathers, not derelict fathers, okay? Because you can have a father or a sperm donor who's not proper, and the kids can still turn out with these problems. Incarceration, I know this very well. Incarceration, more likely to go to prison due to a lack of a father in the household. I know this very well. I know this very well because I deal with guys in the prison system, and what they tell me every day is, and when I have these conversations with them, is that they did not have a proper male model or proper father in their life or someone that can guide them. And they also regret not listening to the individuals that were men who were trying to guide them in the right direction. And what happened is the gang and the lifestyle in the streets became their family. And a lot of them that are in prison now doing life sentences in their old age, as well as 21, 18 years old, the whole rest of their life is in prison because of bad decision making. They have a lot of regrets, and they all go back to the fact that the male structure was not stable in their life. The gang became the father and the mother. That's a big problem. And so this is why fathers on this Father's Day should get more credit for the things that we do than what we truly get. We are an important aspect to the development emotionally, physically, and spiritually of a male child or a female child, and to the stabilization of a family. There are women out here that are raising kids by themselves, doing the best that they can, because for whatever reason, the father is not in their life, in the child's life. And there's all sorts of reasons why that could be. Either the men were musty, crusty, and dusty and ran off. And there's cases where men want to be in their child's life and they're not allowed to be. There are men that pay child support, and the family court system have it so screwed up that that man's paying child support, but for whatever reason, he can't see his kid. Or the child is being used as a weapon against him. See, nobody wants to talk about that. These are the things that men deal with. You know, we say, oh, it's Father's Day. Okay, oh, let's celebrate it's Father's Day, but let's keep it real. There's a lot of fathers out there today who can't see their kid, not because they're derelict and didn't pay their child support, not because of that. No, there are some men who can't see their kids because the ex-wife or the ex-girlfriend doesn't like the fact that that man has moved on. Maybe he's got another woman in his life, and that woman wants to use the child as the leverage against him. Then there are men who can't see their kids because they were just irresponsible fathers. Irresponsible. They were abusive and should be nowhere near the child because they were abusive. Those things do go on too. We have to look at both sides of the equation. But see, what gets lost in all of this, ladies and gentlemen, is that we forget the fathers that are doing what they're supposed to do. We're forgetting about the fathers who get up every day, put on their shoes one leg at a time, their pants, the whole 9 yards, and they go out and work, whether it's be construction, whether they are a white collar worker, blue collar worker, whatever, technical worker, whatever they're doing. We forget about those men who are doing the right things because we're so clouded and caught up in the men who are doing the wrong things. And we turn around and say, see, that's what black men are. They're derelict to their responsibility because of the ones that are not. So you can't judge me in any of the men that will come on this panel today by that barometer. Not going to let you do it. See, black men, why don't we use these social media platforms to change the narrative about what we are? Instead of whining about women and whining and crying about what they're not doing this and they ain't doing that and all. The hell with that. Why don't we focus on what men are doing and men that are examples for their family? Instead of focusing on the few crybabies. Why is it that I can get on a panel and I can say to some folks, hey, are you supporting an organization that's about doing the work for mentoring young boys? Because if we're going to complain about women raising our young males to be kind of feminine, they're not going to stop becoming feminine if that's how we see it, unless men are in their lives. So while we do raise our own kids, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? There are men out here who get involved in organizations while raising their own boys and daughters to help other young youth. And when I get on a panel and I bring that up, okay, if you can't do it physically, why don't you donate to an organization like my man, George Makem and the Urban Nerds Worldwide? Be a part of that. And then it gets all quiet like a rat pissing on cotton, you know? When it gets quiet, it tells me this is not the man of like-mindedness like me. I can't work with him. He's got to get the hell out of the way. See, there are black men who are taking care of their children. You may call them simps. Oh, they're taking care of the children of other men. There are black men taking care of children of other men. Yes, they are, because they also are raising their own kids. And guess what? They're a coach. They're a basketball coach. They're a football coach. Anybody that says that they have not taken care children of other families if you've been a basketball coach, football coach, in any kind of capacity where you worked with kids, you automatically by default have worked with other men's kids, whether those men are in those kids' life or not. You see, the function of a man is that what separates us from women and anything else on this planet is that the goal of men is to solve problems, to be problem solvers, to build society, and to be problem solvers. And there are some who don't want to solve those problems because they don't want to take on the qualities and quantities and unknown quantities and qualities of a man. The ability to build society, to stabilize communities. So when I was growing up, I was raised by many men. Not just my father, but you had the men in the barber shop that raised me, the men that were in the neighborhood, the old guys. It was men in the neighborhood. Every kid was your kid. See, we've gotten away from that structure. When the lights turned on at 6 p.m. at night, you better be in the house, or the neighbors are going to tell your parents, hey, we caught him outside at this time. And by the way, we gave him a spanking. And then you get another spanking too. We saw him doing something mischief. You steal 9 ladies from the corner store. The person owning the store said, I know who your mama and your daddy is. They'll know about tomorrow. They'll know about tomorrow that you stole those 9 ladies. That's real community. And what made those communities function was that it was real men in the communities, stabilizing the communities and raising the children along with their own. That's how many of us Generation Xers grew up. Which is why we laugh at things like participation trophies. So I'm in my dialogue here, I bring these things up because I think we need to give men more respect than just this is the day that we get a tie. This is the day that we get some objects, some cologne, some mint, some socks. I think it's wonderful that we get these things from our kids. I think it's wonderful, but it is more to men than just can we wear a tie, a suit, some new shoes. It is the essence and quality of character and principles that we need to keep in mind. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a link into the chat room. I don't know if anybody, specifically for fathers, specifically for fathers. Specifically for fathers. Specifically for fathers. As I'm waiting on some of my guests to come in, if they do come in. I'm going to play you something from the new documentary, Presence or Presence. I think it's very well fit here. I'll show you the first intro. And let me put this on the screen just as a reminder to people right here. This is also a source that came from LA Times, which was by way of the CDC study, the Pew Research study, living with kids. 45%, 60% white. So bathing and diapering kids, as I said before, black men are at 7%, 70%, leading all other groups. Feeding their children daily at 78%, playing with their children, that's at 82% tied with white males. But then here is another look at this one. This is for men who are not living in the household with their kids. If you look at the numbers to the right, men not living in the household with their children, black men still lead amongst anyone who does not live in a household with their kids at 12% being involved in bathing and diapering and dressing their children. We're leading at 12%, feeding their children daily at 12%. White males, they have a nana on there like, no, they're not. They're not. 8% Latinos. Then when it comes to playing with our children daily, we're leading at 16% versus 6% white males, Latinos at 10% in terms of these particular numbers. And all these numbers are still low because obviously if you don't live with your kids, then you're not able to connect with them as often as you would if you were living with your kids, where the numbers are much higher. But what the study was trying to show, that even when black men are not living with their kids in the household, that is, we are still the most involved fathers out of all other groups. It does not discount the fact that we still have some problems with men out here within our community who are giving us a bad name. And I'm going to say a bad name. But that's because we take the small number of us who are not being responsible and we use that to judge all black men with a broad brush. You don't know every black man. So you're telling me you know every black man in every damn state of this country and every nick and cranny of every city? Impossible. You do not. And so we have to start taking control of the narrative and speaking out. Those of us that are doing the right things, speaking out. I see my man Earl Owens is right in there. I'm going to bring him up in just a moment. But before I do that, I want to play something for you that is very important. This is part of that documentary I was talking about. And let's go with this party. This is the intro to this documentary, which I think is on YouTube right now. Present over presence. Being present in your child life, black men, over just giving them presents. Here we go.
Black fathers don't get enough credit. I know a lot of people have anxieties about, whatever it takes. I don't even know how I raise all the kids I raised, to be totally honest with you, but it works itself out.
We are present. We're out here. It's not just a stereotype that you hear all the time that we're not doing our jobs. There's a lot of us that are present and teaching our kids to live the right way.
Particularly our community, we have to help each other heal. And so this documentary, in my opinion, I'm hoping it motivates and inspires men to establish or reestablish relationship with their children.
Hang in there, and your children will respect it, your spouse will respect it, and you can lay your head down at night knowing that you respect yourself because you're doing the work.
If you haven't been in your child's lives and it's too late, in your opinion, it's been a while, it's not too late. Go get your babies. Go.
Information is power.
Here goes the next one I want to show you. This is the second clip. These are clips, but you can find this present over presence. This is out of Cleveland. This was put together by black men along with the collaboration of black women. There was an organization that put this together, and it was black women who were seeking out black men who are solid fathers. See, this whole narrative that we push on these social medias about black men and black women, we can't get along, we can't this and that. Well, it was black women who were highlighting and working with black men to come up with this documentary. So this shit on social media does not reflect the reality in the community. That's why I say all the time to people, the brothers that I hang out with, we don't talk like this. We don't talk this type of rhetoric.
Things, material, right. But it's the time that matters. Absolutely. We try to.
And I see I got Sir Hell getting ready to come on here, but let me get this other clip going.
Things, material, right. But it's the time that matters. Absolutely. We try to do, as you guys know, with your own kids, we try to do so much. We have talks, we do readings together, we travel the world together. Right. I want my son's view to be the world view, not just where he's at right now.
Absolutely, that's big. That's big. I probably miss out on about $20,000 to $30,000 a year in overtime just because I'd rather spend time with my son than spend time at work away from him. Yeah, right. I just didn't want my wife raising my son by herself. Right. So that's why I chose to be present instead of just giving presents. Right.
Tell the truth.
Yo, raising the Tobagos, we growing like fresh tomatoes. Them boys on fire, too fuego. We pass it round hot potato. Everything is new wave.
All right, we've got some dynamic brothers on the panel here, and I'm looking forward. There's some other brothers that'll be coming on in time, but we got my man Earl Owens, who's been rocking with my channel for a very, very long time. Thank you for being here. Out of Seattle, Washington, I believe. And then we got a man that I've been telling you all about who will be on the show for a one-to-one interview, and that's Brother Sir Hale Speaks Network. And I believe Black Man Unfiltered, I sent him a link, so hopefully he'll be on. I got a few others. Hopefully they'll be able to make it. But I want to say thank you for coming upstairs with me. And how are you brothers doing today? And happy Father's Day. Let me just say that first of all.
Happy Father's Day, Info Man.
Thank you, brother. And Sir Hale, how are you doing, brother? Happy Father's Day to you too.
Thank you so much. Happy Father's Day. Shout out to you, to all the chat, to the fellow on the panel. Happy Father's Day. Thanks for having me up.
Oh, most definitely, brother. I mean, how are you feeling today, man? I mean, it's Father's Day, of course. We're talking about the importance of fathers. I saw one of the memes that you put in your community tab about us changing the narrative, and that's something that I 100% agree with. And I just want to get your point of view more in depthly about this, Sir Hale and Earl Owens. I want to get your opinion about what it is to be a father and how we can continue changing the negative narrative that's been put out there about us, particularly black men.
Well, I can start. Can you hear me pretty well?
Yes, go right ahead, my brother.
Okay, thanks so much. So a couple things. One is fathers, for the most part, black fathers have been a part of their kids' life. We just had really bad marketization, particularly in the 90s up into the 2000s. And I think what we're seeing now is this, we're so used to having talking points that we talk talking points and we don't talk about reality and facts. And black men we've tried to father and overcompensate all the negative stuff that we've heard, that we're missing out on just being fathers. So what we're doing is we're changing the narrative. Like when people say it's so good to see a black man with his kids, well, man, that's not an anomaly. This is normal. And what we're doing is, instead of us feeling really good and taking compliments like that, as a way to suggest that black fathers, not active. No, this is normal. It's normal for us to be around our kids. It's normal for us to be a part of their lives and to provide wisdom and guidance. This is normal. This is what we do. And so we're changing the narrative, not just with men, but with a lot of our women as well, our mothers and our grandmothers and our aunties and sisters and girlfriends. We're changing that because a lot of this passed down, this concept that black fathers are not present, are conversations that our new mothers are speaking to their new children. So we're changing that both from men and from our women too.
Right. I agree. Earl Owens, you want to jump in here, brother, and add to the discussion?
I'll just start off with my background. So, okay, I'm originally from Florida, and my mama died when I was 6 months old. My father passed when I was a year and a half. Now, I was raised by 5 aunties and a godmother. Okay, now, I saw examples of fathers, whether it was my uncle, my cousin's husband, my cousins, and how they interact with their children. And I just set up in my mind as a teenager that, hey, I'm going to be there for my child. And with that mindset, of course, I joined the military. I got married when I was in the military. Got a daughter first, then I got a son, then, divorce. But I still had, listen, you lay down, plant that seed, those children are a part of you. Okay? I have 2 people with my characteristics of DNA in this world. And my duty as a father is to train them and be in their lives. How does a child spell love? T-I-M-E. So even though I'm not with their mama, I made sure I inserted myself into their life. And that time and just basically just mentoring them and telling them the truth about life. And I heard the name calling, some people say, oh, you're a deadbeat, this, that, and the other. But, those people don't know what's really going on. They're on the outside looking in. And that did not dissuade me, because I know I'm doing my best to be in my children's lives. Now, my children are my daughter's in IT. She's 26 years old. My son's 25. Um, they're both doing great. Even though they grown, they still my babies, and I still insert myself into their lives, and they're appreciative of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the narrative about black fathers not being in their children's lives, well, you know what? I ignore it because I know what I'm doing. And then there's time that I insert myself in other that children that are not mine. I insert myself into their lives because I see something ain't right, and I just talk to them, ask them what's going on, ask them about goals. What do you want to do with your life? I mean, I don't do it on a grand scale, but at least they get a man's perspective. And fathers are important. Fathers or father figures, because I had father figures growing up, and they were great examples in my life.
Definitely. I want to ask you this, Sir Hell. Do you think functional fathers, because obviously you have those out there who are not doing the right thing that we sort of get lumped in with. How do you think to fathers who are actually doing what they're supposed to do, are we getting the credit and the attention brought onto us to what we do as we should, Sir Hell? I mean, I do what I do because I love my kids, right? I don't do it because, okay, I'm expecting a reward, to be put on a pedestal. But at the same time, it appears like, there's little credit given to us. What are your thoughts about that?
Excellent question, but I even want to change that narrative.
Okay.
I've noticed when it comes to fathers, you've got to be instantly great at fatherhood, and that's not the way that it works.
Mm-hmm.
Like, depending on when you have children, if it's your 20s, 30s, and 40s, the context and experience is going to determine what type of father you are. Now, this can be even dependent on if you had a father or not. And I think what happens with this is we judge fathers in their 20s the same way we judge a father in his 40s. It's the same criteria. And we have to give fathers some grace that, just like mothers, you don't know everything at first. It's trial and error. It's you trying to be your best. You learn from mistakes, and then you're improving as time goes on.
Yes.
So a lot of the fathers who had said that they're not doing what they're supposed to do, well, heck, a lot of them don't know what they're supposed to be doing. So we're trying to figure it out. So we've got to give some fathers who are new out there some grace, provide a level of support for them, and give them the tools that they need to continue to develop as a father.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's not like we are born and we automatically have a book memorized on how to be a father. Do you believe, Sir Hell, that we improve our skills in understanding what it is to be a parent and understanding what it is to be a father over time? Do you believe that, or you think that's a factor in this?
Absolutely. What you said, absolutely agree with. So let me take it for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a 34-year-old father of four, been married for going on 15 years. It'll be 15 years this Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
Right? So my oldest son is 14. My wife got pregnant when I was 19 and I had my son at 20.
Oh,
14
wow.
years later, I'm a completely different father than I was back then. And back then, people told me that I was a deadbeat dad. They told me that I couldn't do this. I was way too young, and perhaps they were right. But I find it ironic that a lot of the people who told me I was too young, that their husbands and their fathers, they're broken away from them now, right? Because what did they do wrong? You looked at a person's age and you didn't look at the trajectory of their growth. And a lot of us men, we want to be dads. We just simply don't know how to be it. We don't know how to be it. And every mistake that we make is highlighted, and then we get lumped in, like you said earlier, with the men who are really not doing stuff. And I think that's completely unfair. We got to give some grace.
So can we make the argument that you stated yourself, Sir Hill, that at one point in time you were labeled as a deadbeat father, and you were maturing and trying to figure out what it is to be a father, and the light bulb turned on and you were able to make that adjustment. Can we make the argument that that's where some of the stereotypes of black men come from, that they look at a picture in time of us where we're still trying to learn, and they say, okay, that's what black men are. They're that type of father. They're deadbeats. They're this and that. So we're being judged at a particular time in our life when we're still trying to figure out this thing called fatherhood, as we said before. Is that an element of what is being used to demonize us, especially when it comes to black fathers?
Man, that's such a good question, and absolutely yes. It's almost like people have this snapshot of what you are, and that's it. And you are always trying to prove that you've grown from that. And the thing that I'm telling men now is we're not proving that to anybody. Let our kids be the results, right? Let them be the results. But to answer your question, absolutely. We get stuck because, particularly fathers, we get stuck. We get labeled. There's a snapshot of who we used to be, and no one really sees our growth until our kids come back later saying, "Thank you, Daddy, for what you've done."
Wow. I had said earlier, I want either one of you to jump on this part. You know, Sir Hill, I don't know. I can't make a judgment. I don't know exactly how you grew up, what the family structure was. I know that for myself, and maybe you grew up the same way. It was almost like that whole thing about it takes a village to raise a child. That's how I grew up. It was not only my father and my mother, but there was also other men. That's why I kept focusing on the fact that men are the ones who stabilize communities when you have proper males in the community. And it was men in my community who literally raised me. You know, I got my P's and Q's from men in the community who had all sort of, occupations, a barber, a mechanic, but they were in the community and I could see them living the example because they also, and I said this earlier, that you have men that are at the same time raising their own family in their household, but taking the time to steer a young male in the community. That's how I grew up, brother. I don't know if it was the same for you or Earl Owens as well.
Absolutely. Oh, so go ahead, Earl.
Myself, maybe you grew up the same way.
For me, I did have, outside, the influences of other men who were fathers. Like I said, my uncle, my cousin's husband, there are even men that I worked with as a teenager who were fathers who were, giving me advice. So yeah, I had that village within my life as fathers.
We have someone new who's come on board because we got my man Point Blank Travels. Welcome. Happy Father's Day.
Hey, happy Father's Day, fellas. I don't know can you hear me, information, man?
Yeah, you sound great, brother. Give it to us.
Appreciate you, man. It's funny, man. I was about to go live on one of my channels, the Point Blank Experience, and talk about Father's Day, and I got your notification, and I scaled back, and I'm like,
oh, I appreciate that.
I want to go tune in to what you're talking about, and it's amazing. And first and foremost, I want to give a big shout out to you, man, and everything you're doing for the community, and these two wonderful gentlemen on the panel, Sir Hale and Earl Owens, and much love and blessings to everyone in the chat.
Much respect,
bro. And make sure, Point Blank Travel, both of you and everybody in the chat, make sure you subscribe to Sir Hale Speaks Network's channel. He's got incredible things going on over there, pound discussions, relationship discussions. The brother is really incredible. And I will be bringing him on this show to promote his channel and let him speak about the things that he does on his channel. But y'all need to get over there. I'm over there. I'm a member of his channel. And I also have to become a member of your channel too, Point Blank Travel. And I just love what this brother is doing and love what you're doing over there too, because you're giving everyone on this panel, particularly those that are content creators, we are giving value to the audience because you're talking about credit and financing, much needed in our community. Okay. And brother Sir Hale, I like his style and way he talks about these very difficult issues around relationships, men and women, and how we're dealing with each other. And he comes at it in a very pragmatic, intelligent way. So y'all need to get over there and check him out. I've been on some of his panels and I really enjoy that, whether I'm on the panels or not, watching and participating. But point blank travel, brother. When you look at the issue of fathers, can you speak upon your experience, whether it be what your own father has taught you or instilled upon you, or men in your community who had some influence on you?
Yeah, that's pretty easy, info, man. I mean, my father, earlier in my life, he instilled a strong foundation of what
Mm-hmm.
a black man was supposed to be. And I was born right after segregation, late 60s. I grew up in a southern town in Arkansas where, it was still a lot of racism. And he and my mother both instilled in my younger brother and I that, we have to work twice as hard. And then probably when I was around 15 or 16, he became a drug addict. Yet I never looked down on him because I kept those values that he instilled in me, and I made it a task or a chore to one day be able to see him come out of that, which he did, and his knowledge was even more valuable after that because he had saw so much. But one thing I want to say today, and I just posted on Instagram, thanks to you, a lot of the knowledge I get from you, this is the first Father's Day where I won't have the opportunity to speak to my father. And that's kind of why I was going to go live, why I came up. There are a lot of fathers out there today. There are a lot of people today that's missing their fathers. Their fathers aren't here anymore. And while we're saying Happy Father's Day, we don't know what people may be going through who are missing their fathers, but there are a lot of brothers out there right now that don't have biological children,
Mm-hmm.
yet they're stepping in the role of fatherhood, whether it's a niece, a nephew, a cousin, a younger sibling, a friend's child, you never know. So there are fathers out there that may not have biological children, yet they're stepping in that role. And I want to give a shout out to them because these children, I think it was either Sir Hill or Earl said it earlier, it's not money, it's not gifts. Yeah, they'll appreciate that, they'll like that. But what they'll remember 5, 10, 20 years down the road, what they'll remember is time. Time. They'll remember that time that was spent with them
Yes.
and that knowledge that was instilled in them. So as we're, it's a lot of fathers out there today that do have biological children. Hey, hats off to you, man. This is your day. But I want to give a shout out to those brothers out there right now that are stepping into that role and saying, hey, I'm not going to call you my stepson. I'm not going to call you my stepdaughter. I'm going to call you my daughter or my son because I have that love for you and I'm going to guide you and I'm going to direct you in the right direction. And that's what I like to look at, It's a lot. It's a lot, and it cracked me up because, boy, brothers we don't get the love that mothers get on Mother's Day. Ain't nobody making reservations, ain't nobody cooking no big meals. But
and that's why I had said earlier that I recognize that, mothers, it's a bigger deal in society when it's Mother's Day, mainly because, let's just keep it real, they make a lot of money because they market heavily towards women and mothers, and they figure people are going to spend more. They dramatize it more, and I get that, but I want to make something very important here, is that we make jokes about this. Hey, fathers, we get ties, we get socks, we get all these kind of weird things that our kids make for us or buy for us. But I want people to also realize that we are more. And ain't nothing wrong with a suit and tie, don't get me wrong, but we are more than suit and ties and shoes and socks. Because that's what people tend to associate with. Oh, socks and we're more than that. There's a lot more to us than just those little physical items or clothing items that are purchased for us on this day. It's more about our essence, our character, and our principles, and how we deal with our family and we build in our communities. And you said something I gotta give you a clap for. And you said, let's not forget about those brothers out there who may not have biological kids, but they are stepping in and helping kids. And that's why I said that there are black men out there and men out there who wake up in the morning and they're the ones that are coaching your kids in football and basketball and track and other activities, of course, who either have kids of their own while at the same time working with kids, or they have no kids. And that's another area, Sir Hale, I want you to touch on this. That's another area that nobody talks about, Sir Hale. He brought a point blank travel on a good point. We've got black men who are involving themselves in community programs. And this whole notion that, oh, black men are not doing nothing for the kids and not working. Wait a minute. There are black men that are volunteering their time every day.
Excellent point. Now, the Information Man Show, can I take a little turn?
Yeah, it's you, man. I'm gonna put you front and center. It's you, man. Go ahead.
See, because there was so much money being made with the false narrative that fathers are not active. A lot of, from a corporation perspective, they got to keep the narrative going, because if we start promoting fatherhood being some of these things that are being promoted to mothers and championed, is going to cost money. It's going to take money out of people's pockets. And so I think that's why it's such a big push not to show the good side of fathers, not to let it be seen that there are men. And I don't even like the word stepping up, because that suggests that men were not stepping up all along. No, there's a reason why.
Fair.
It's a reason why men who have always been there are not getting that shine, because there's money to be made with the dominating idea that fathers are not active.
Okay. Well, I get what you're saying, because you're right. You know, the English language is a trip. It gives the notion that we have not been stepping up. When you say, okay, there are some that are stepping up, and then I get what you're saying. But I guess in a nutshell, we know I've grown up around them. I know brothers right now personally. All of us people in the chat room, we know that there are people out there, brothers out there, who have kids of their own or have no kids, and they are out there working with youth. And and a lot of times they don't get counted into the narrative of whether black men are working with kids and doing something to help the community. And I think that we need to not discount their contribution, because that gets lost in the sauce here. And Sir Hale, as you had said earlier, a lot of times as a man, we're trying to figure out when we're young what direction we're going in. And that's where we make a lot of our mistakes. And that's where we get judged the most. So very good point, my brother. Very good point. Now, Sir Hale, not to be all in your business, but let everybody know you are a father, right? Obviously.
Yep, father of 2 boys, 2 girls, married going on 15 years. Oh, yeah. Big papa.
Okay. What have been the ups? Maybe I shouldn't say it like this. What are the challenges of being a father, married, and having 2 kids? What have been some of the challenges, whether good or bad?
Yes, so got 4 kids, but I'll tell you what the big challenge was.
4 kids.
It is because I'm a member of the clergy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a black man. I'm successful. It was, I have to have the wisdom of a 40-year-old in my 20s. That was the hardest thing to grow through that. Like, to act like I'm structured and I've got experience, and I have to have a certain level of wisdom and poise and peace. And it's like, no, you don't have that. You're stressed out. You're scared. Right? That was the biggest thing. That, information, Master, I went through something where my wife and I, we very young, we got separated because of things got hard. And I was in a different state, still providing. And a post was made about me, about essentially me being a deadbeat. And it was so much stuff said that I knew that's how he was. See, that's how black men are. And I was about 23 years old. And what got me is that people see young fathers in a particular phase, and it is we don't get that from a lot of young mothers who are 23. It's she's developing, she's growing. There's no handbook, but fathers are expected to know it as soon as you have a kid, and that's why I say that a lot of these people who say that they're deadbeat fathers, if you go back and you ask them what makes a deadbeat father a deadbeat father, you'll probably hear some inconsistencies because that is a subjective perspective. Because some of that is not that he's a deadbeat, he just didn't know, and when he learned better, he did better. Right.
Right.
This is why if you see a lot of these kids who didn't know about their dad or they heard a story about him, they end up meeting their fathers years down the line and get a completely different perspective because they now get to hear his side, right? And so that's some of the stuff that I've dealt with. And as a father, being present and active and not just making it about money, because they say one thing is, you got to be there to provide for your kids. And then they say, well, it ain't just about money. You got to spend time with your kids. And I'm like, hold on, bro, listen. Depending on where you at in your life, you're not going to get the best of both worlds. You're not going to get all of my time because I got to go make money, right? And if I make too much money, you can't complain about the time, because at this particular phase of my life, it's not about me going to every birthday party. It's to make sure that when you start your life, you're not
Yes.
starting out broken in poverty, right?
Right.
So it's growing through those differences of phases that a lot of people don't understand that
Right.
comes with fatherhood.
It seems like, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, it seems like men in general, we're in a double-edged sword. We're in a catch-22. You're damn if you do and you're damn if you don't. If we're not out there getting the bag and getting the proper education or a proper job to take care of our family, now we're called a dusty and musty, right? But then when we do have the job and we're bringing home the good food and we got we can take care of our wives financially, now it's that, oh, you're never around. What do you want from us? Because in order to take care of the kids and put our wives in a lifestyle that they feel comfortable in and give our kids the best opportunity at education, private school, whatever it is that we want to do, we still have to go out and work, or if we're a business person, you still got to work. And even if you're a businessman, own your own business, you got to work even more than someone that works a regular job. So I want for any of the brothers on the panel, does it appear like we are always in a catch-22 of trying to prove ourselves? Or am I just scratching at straws here?
No, you bring up a good point, information, man. I mean, a lot of times relationships, I'm not going to say women, relationships require attention. And males want attention just as much as females, if not more. But in order to go out there and get that, as you put it, get that bag, you have to put time and effort out there. One thing I was thinking about as everyone was talking, I'm thinking about that brother that go out there and go from job to job to job to job.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep getting turned down. They want to provide for their family. They want to be that father. They want to be that providing father, but yet they have the credentials, they have the degrees, they have the skills, knowledge, and abilities to go and do it. But yet they're not given a fair opportunity because maybe for the last 3 months they've been laid off and they haven't been able to buy a new suit or a new shirt or new clothes. Yet prior to them even getting a chance to speak,
Mm-hmm.
prior to them even getting a chance to show how much knowledge they have inside, they're judged by their exterior appearance. They're judged by what they're wearing. And they may not have the latest pants that are shorter, and I would never wear them, but the pants that are flooding or something like that. I ain't gonna rock in there. I'm rolling in there with a 3-piece on, but opportunity, and yet they're called deadbeat. And I know I went around what you were just saying, yet they're called a deadbeat. It's not that they don't have the motivation, the inspiration, or the ambition.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not given the opportunity when they walk into an interview. Because trust me, I do interviews. I conduct interviews in my job right now, and I don't care what you're wearing. I don't care what your hair look like, especially if you look like me. I'm giving you an opportunity to speak. Yet these brothers don't even get that chance, and then they got to go back home. They feel defeated, and we wonder why so many brothers out there slinging dope, why so many brothers out there on the street corner trying to provide for their family, because hell, they're not given an opportunity to go in there and do something that's legal and ethical.
Right. And this is why when we come home from a long day's work, black men in particular, and I think this is the same for all men, but particularly for black men, we want to come home to a place of peace after we've had a hard day, just as our women want to come home to peace. And this is something that we've said on many a panels, Sir Hales as well, to our sisters out there. We love you, but we do want to come home to peace. And there's a way that we can still have discussions about very sensitive issues if you just allow brothers when they come home to unwind, take a shower, maybe have a meal, let them decompress themselves before you lay the heavy information on us. Because remember, people laugh at this kind of stuff, but when they say a castle is a man's kingdom, right? It truly is. Going home away from all the stuff that we deal with as black men, as men in this society, is a refuge from all the BS. And the last thing we want to do is come home to more conflict. And I'm going to be fair here. We also, our women, they want less conflict as well. But we both have to we both have to respect one another. And I'm just saying this is something that black men really want. And I'm also going to say this because people don't really want to hear this. There are a lot of black men who are caught up in family court, who want to see their kids and are paying child support. But the women are using the child as a pawn or as a way to manipulate that man and stress him out. See, as much as we talk about the deadbeat, using that word deadbeat men, nobody wants to deal with the fact that there are actually men fighting to try to see their child and paying the child support and still getting railroaded. See, nobody wants to touch on that. Nobody wants to be honest about that. It's so easy for people to say, well, black men, y'all not taking care of you. It's so easy to say that. But there's another story. And that story is there are black men who are trying to see their kids, but they can't. And then the narrative is painted that they can't, that they're deadbeat fathers, why they can't see their kid, when in fact, that's not always the case. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It isn't a problem within some of our communities, but it is a reality that some black men are trying to see their kids. I've seen black men in court that have been crying. I've talked to black men that are crying, literally tears coming out of their eyes in the barbershop because they can't see their kid because the child is being used against them, or the woman is using the kid against them. Now, I'm sorry. I know that's not what I know some of the ladies are not going to like what I just said, but I'm sorry. It is part of the truth amongst other things.
Yeah, the truth.
Man, you hit the nail on the head, information man. In 2003 or 4, I was in California and I went to child support court, and I was ordered to pay my daughter's mother $1,500 a month in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I didn't have a problem with it. I could afford it. It took a chunk out of my pay, but at the end of the day, as long as my child was taken care of, but I think sometimes in these legal systems, the amount, it doesn't equal the salary. It doesn't.
No, man.
And in my case, I was blessed and I was able to do it. But, you said earlier, like socks, ties, and suits and shoes. The only thing I want for my kids on Father's Day is a call, a text. Dad, are you okay? I miss you. I can't wait to see you. I love you. I'm cool. Because you can't put no price on that. I'm cool. I am cool with that. But you're right. It's a lot of people out there that try to be vindictive and when it comes to child support. But I just think if people take the time to look at the kid and the child that's involved and let's get rid of the extra, then we'll be okay.
I'll use me as an example. And I think Sir Hale, Black Man Unfiltered, is trying to come in. I just dropped another link for him. So Black Man Unfiltered, try to click back in and I'll put you right on the panel, brother. I was looking forward to you coming on today as well. I'll use myself as an example. I was married for 15 years. I met my wife in college. And out of those I got to admit, out of those 15 years, most of those years were good years together. It was near the end of our relationship or our marriage where things went bad. And we both, near the end of the relationship, when we decided to get a divorce, it was very amicable. We didn't scream and yell. And we both admitted that we weren't happy about some things in our relationship. I married young, just like Sir Hill was saying. I made a lot of mistakes as a young husband. That if I was married today, I would not make those mistakes. You kind of learn, and unfortunately, sometimes you're learning in the process of making those mistakes, which can cause a divorce to happen. But when I met her, we were intelligent enough to have discussions about how we wanted to deal with each other in a divorce if it was to happen, because we had friends from college who went through a divorce and we saw how ugly it could be. So it was already from the get-go when my daughter was born and all of those sort of things, that I was going to be involved in my child's life and we were going to have a 50-50 down the middle custody situation. It was already discussed. It was already going to be reality, and it is reality to this day. I don't have the normal drama that some guys have because I have 50-50 custody of my child, which means I have a lot of say in what happens with my child. And I think I tell guys all the time, when you're in this situation, you need to go to court and get 50-50 custody, because if you do not get that 50-50 custody, if not all custody, and you leave it up to your ex-wife or the woman that you had the child with to go to court and do all the legal procedures and you're absent, you cannot be upset, as you cannot cry about what befalls you, because if you did not go to court and tell your side of the story and fight for your 50-50 custody, if not full custody, that's the reason why I don't have any drama. My ex-wife cannot take my daughter anywhere without me knowing it. She can't do anything without my say-so, and she has some say-so as well, because I have custody of my child as much as she has. And so therefore I don't have personal drama and do not mind paying financially for my child. Had I not done that, and had I not had a reasonable conversation with her, and we weren't even a reason with each other, or if I had not gone to court to fight for my rights as a father, then I could be someone talking about, oh, woe is me. I could be the statistic.
Hey, information man. So I like what Brown Girl Bella said.
Oh, let me put her up. Let me put it up here right now. I'm sorry about that.
A lot of guys, man, and I almost felt trapped in this. Please don't do your child a disservice and get
Tell the truth.
Upset because you're paying a certain amount of money. I don't care what your child support bill is. That does not replace the time and being active in your child's life. Don't get mad at the mother because you paying $1,000, $1,500 a month and then take it out on the child. Because that child, they're at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. They don't know how much money you're giving the mother. Still, I almost fell prey to that.
Right.
And
don't do that.
Yeah. One of the words I said was, she's not going to get any Christmas gifts because I'm giving you all this money. Find a way to still show that child that they're a part of your life outside of the child support agreement that's been made by the courts.
Right.
Still be active in your daughter, your son, your twins, your triplets. Be active in their life because they don't know nothing about the money. But when they grow up, they don't know how many thousands of dollars were paid, but they will know how many thousands of hours or minutes that wasn't given to them and wasn't spent with them. And they will remember that and they're going to hold it against you. So
tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Put that to the side. Be active in your child's life.
Be active. That's right. That's
right. Only thing right now, gas is high, but I don't care if gas is $2,000 a gallon. I got a young child. I'm going to visit that child. I'm going to spend time with that child. And if all I can afford is a single scoop of ice cream, me, my daughter, my son, my grandkids, we're going to get us a single scoop of ice cream and we're going to have a damn good time.
But see, point blank travel, your attitude that you have about this is indicative of a lot of black men who feel the same way. But see, we don't often hear those voices saying they're out there, but those are the voices of black men who get sort of pushed to the side so that we can prop up the negative narrative about black men. You see what I'm saying? Because, Sir Hale, tell me if I'm wrong or right. There is money to be made financially off of downplaying what black men are doing right. People write books to talk about us like a dog, right? People have shows to talk about us like a dog. We see it here on YouTube. What you say, Sir Hale?
That's a fact. That's a fact. But I also want to say something as well. Shout out to Brown Girl Bella. Good to see you. One thing that I think we have to understand as well is a lot of fathers want to spend that time. But when you're working 2 and 3 jobs to pay child support, trying to keep a roof over your head so that when you get your kid, they have somewhere to go, because, you know, that could be used against you if you got your own place to stay. There are certain phases in fatherhood where you want to spend time and you can't. So you got to leverage technology. Use FaceTime, use Facebook Messengers. Find some way. You might not always be able to be physically there, and then in some cases, mom has taken the child and skipped away and gone to a different state. So we have to look at the world we live in now, and we have to implore men to be active in any way possible, whether that's physically or digitally as well. Try to find a way to stay active in your kid's life.
Wow. You know what, Sir Hale, I'm glad you said that. I'm trying to see if I put it into my system. I was reading something where it talked about the fathers that are not physically living in the household with their kids. They're doing exactly what you're talking about. They're using their phones, they're FaceTiming, right? They're using their tablets to stay in contact with their kids, and they're doing it every day, and they break it down by how many months they're doing, how often they do it within a month. So what you just said, brother, I just read something about that. I think it was in Peer Research, where they're saying that is the new wave of fatherhood for fathers that are either not living in the household, or maybe fathers that are living in the household and they're married and they're just so busy working that they take the time during the day to FaceTime their kids, to talk to them. That is more reality than most of us actually realize. That's a very good point. Brown Girl Bella, thank you for coming up. What do you want to add to this discussion?
So I was going to leave it the men talking, because I feel like this conversation is much needed. But as a daughter and a product of my dad, who at the beginning of my life was in the household, and my parents divorced. So I was a preteen when they divorced. And I can honestly tell you, there was no difference between when he was in the home and when he was outside of the home in terms of how we connected as father and daughter. And so, you know, he's not with me any longer. But I have to say, like, you know, I talk about my father a lot on my channel. And, you know, actually he was the impetus for Brown Girl Bella, because I tell this story often about how I was a preteen and I wanted this luxury lipstick, actually lip gloss. And we were driving down Fifth Avenue, and he was like, "Oh, I'm tired of you talking about this lip gloss. Like, get it already. Here's my credit card. Like, go get it. If they'll give it to you, get it." And I was 12 at the time. And he was like, "Yeah, here, take my card." Not thinking his daughter was actually going to do it. And she did it. She got out that car. He looped around, and, you know, a couple of times until I was out in front. I went upstairs, my little 12-year-old self, little brown girl, went up to that counter and told this lady, "I want that Chanel lip gloss." And she looked at this little brown girl and she was like, "Will that be cash or charge?" And I was like, "Charge it. Here you go." And gave her my dad's card. And she charged it. And I went downstairs happy as a clam with my little, you know, Saks Fifth Avenue bag, and went downstairs and got in the car. And he was like, "Give me my card back. They actually let you charge my card without me being there. Give me my card back." But he was thrilled that his daughter had the gravitas to then go and get what she wanted. And he was like, there's absolutely nothing, nothing that I won't do for you and I won't give you. If you want an opportunity to do anything, I'm going to make it happen for you. And that to me is the hallmark and what I used as my linchpin to decide how a good man is supposed to be. Because a good man for his children will walk through fire.
Okay. This is what I want to do. I appreciate you putting that up there. Let me give her a clap for that. But let me do this because Sir Hell, I read your private message. I know you got to drop off in a little bit. So what I want to do is let you speak your words before you have to drop off.
Well, first of all, I've got to give a shout out to my big bro, Information Man Show.
Thank you.
Like real talk, this is one of the best YouTube channels, period. There's nothing else need to be said. Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so much for all you do. Brown Girl Bella, you have such an award-winning smile. I got to say this, an award-winning smile. And I think it's wonderful to see daughters who are influenced by their dads. Listen, our sons and our daughters make a big difference. And whether we are rich or wealthy, when our kids are happy, we're successful. Right?
That's right.
So for you to come up here and speak with the level of heart you have, it's heartwarming. And I'm a father with 2 daughters and 2 sons. I pray that one day I'm able to make an impact on my kids, much like your dad did you. So shout out to all the brothers on here. My brother, Black Man Unfiltered, to Point Blank Travel, to Earl Owens. I'm so glad for you guys. Listen, fathers, we're changing the narrative in 2022. We're not promoting this concept of deadbeat dads. We're going to extend grace, and where fathers are failing, we're going to step in and we're going to lend support and guidance. We're not going to let there be any weak links in this change. We are changing the talking points. We're changing the perspective by how we promote, how we celebrate, and we're not going to treat men in their 20s who are young fathers like they should be 40-year-old fathers. No, we're going to teach them how to grow and how to develop, and that mistakes are normal and that they're natural. We're gonna silence all of this negative stuff about what Black men ain't, and we're gonna highlight what Black men are, and the stuff that we're not. We're gonna work it out, and we're gonna become strong. We are changing the narrative. It starts with us fathers and our daughters and our wives, and our siblings are gonna hear it as well. But in 2022, the narrative changes. Black fathers are present. We are active. We are here, and we ain't going nowhere.
Facts.
Nowhere.
I love that.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Sir Hale, thank you, brother. And enjoy the rest of your evening with your family. And I'll see you soon, brother. I appreciate you again.
Brother, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, wow. That was pretty heavy stuff. I really appreciate that. Let me do this too. This is another brother that will be coming to the channel for an interview at some point in time as well. And that's Black Man Unfiltered. I want to introduce him, put him front and center for a moment. And Black Man Unfiltered. First of all, the first thing I want to say to you is thank you for being very hospitable to me on your channel, inviting me to some of your panels when I am able to come over. You have great discussions on your network. A whole lot of great people over there that come on and contribute to the content. And I appreciate you as much as I do, brother, Sir Hale. Both of you are wonderful. And so I know that you are a father. I don't want to take up all your time today, brother, but I want people to hear from you, the things that you're trying to do on your, well, we're going to leave that for the interview about things you're doing on your channel, but more in detail. But I want people to hear about your experience as a father and what it means to you. I think you have 4 kids, I heard you say the other day. He dropped off. Oh, man, I hate that. Oh, he'll come back on. He's probably having some technical problems, folks. Sorry about that. He'll be back on. He probably dropped off. And we have Zoe Morris on with us. But how you doing, my brother?
How you doing,
Zoe?
sir? How you doing,
Welcome.
sir, man?
Welcome.
Thank you for welcoming me, man. I love your show.
Oh, I appreciate you coming up here. Let me give you a clap, though. Everybody gets a clap when they come up here. Okay, that's customary. And thank you for coming up and joining the program. I was trying to, do something in honor of Black fathers. You know, I have to say this, and maybe I'm being nasty, but I just think it should be a hell of a lot more people watching today, as they will watch some of my other content when we're talking about black fathers. And we got a good audience here today. Don't get me wrong, but I just noticed, I noticed something that I think when it comes to black fathers, we should really rally, right? Just as much as we should rally around black mothers as well, because black mothers are very much important. But Zoe, give it to us, brother. What are your thoughts?
Okay, I tried to post a question in the chat.
I'm sorry, I might have missed your question.
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask the question because I always look at things, in regards to the future, in regards to, I guess you would say, will be our grandchildren and great grandchildren and their inheritance, in regards to what type of culture are they going to inherit in regards to, like, picking wives and husbands and having unions and these things. And like I said, I understand the situation as it is now, in regards to the courts and how active the courts are in regard to my situation, my mother and my father's situation, everybody else is in regards to having to go to court and get orders and these different type of things. But my thing is, like, I want to ask you in regards to the inheritance that our grandkids and grandkids are going to inherit. Is it a thing of, well, go to court and getting the best situation you can get and getting joint custody and these type of things? Because I feel like, to me, that's like trying to do the wrong thing better. And I feel like if our kids and grandkids and great grandkids can't inherit a proper culture in regards to how to make unions work and how to understand knowledge of procreation, but all you can inherit is the go to court thing and the co-parent thing and the things that's so commonplace now. Again, like I said, with my situation, with the situation I grew up with, then what can they do? Like, because to me, it's like, what are they going to inherit? Because it only at the rate. Not saying that I think that black fathers are active, and I think that we are active in these situations, but you still have to have those unions. You still have to have a unions. You know what I'm saying? So what are they? Well, I don't want to see
what I would want to say to you, or what I want to say in general to everybody. Ultimately, we don't want to see people get divorced, right? We don't want to see divorce. You ultimately want to get married, grow old together, flourish, have grandchildren, the whole 9 yards. That's ultimately what we want. But we know in reality, because people being what people are, we have our different ticks to us. Ultimately, we know that there are some people who are not going to stick together. We are not living in the generation of our great grandparents where they were together for a very long time. Do I want to see that? Yes, brother. But I'm simply saying, in respect to your question, that if you are if you're going to get a divorce, unfortunately, because of the way the system is set up, if you don't have a partner that you had a prior conversation with and said, look, this is what we're going to do without letting the courts get involved. In my situation, I think what I failed to also tell you, in my situation, me and my ex-wife, or my wife at the time, we did not allow the situation to get entangled in a court, because we both came together in an agreement that I'm the father of my child. I'm going to take care of her. I'm going to be paying A, B, and C. This is the deal. And then what we simply did is we made it legal in the courts by going to court to make it legalized that I had 50-50 custody. Now, is that the best thing? Ultimate? No, because ultimately you want to be in the household with your child every single day, and you don't want to have any breakups. But in my situation, I was able to talk to my wife at the time and we came to a conclusion that was based in sound decision making. Not everybody is with someone that's willing to make that sound decision. However, if you are with someone who's not willing to make sound decisions with you about that, what's going to happen, my brother, is that if you don't go to court, and it's unfortunately to fight for your right as a father, you can be railroaded by the courts. Even though your goal all along was still to take care of your child, the court system can be used against us. Remember, and this is an unfortunate thing for everyone needs to hear this. When you get married and you get a marriage certificate, you are contracting with the state that you live in. The government is involved in your relationship, whether you like it or not. The minute you write down that marriage certificate, you have already given your consent to the state to involve themselves in your relationship, which is why it costs a lot of money sometimes to get a damn divorce, because the state is saying, we going to get us something on the front end and we going to get us something on the back end. Now, am I telling the truth or telling the truth?
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth, Doc.
Tell them information.
So ideally, should we stay together to give our kids a better example? Yes. However, what I do for myself personally, I know it's anecdotal, so I'm not speaking for everybody's situation, but for me, my daughter sees her mother and I working together without drama. We're not arguing around her. We're not screaming. She's not using her as a pawn against me. So my daughter's not growing up seeing that. She's seeing cooperation between us, which is important for a kid to see if they unfortunately are growing up in a situation where father and mother are not together. It ain't the best situation, but I don't know what else I could tell you, brother. It's just in a perfect world, it'd be great for us to all stick together till we're old and we die.
Oh man, no. I just was just posing the question. I thank you, for this, answering my question, bro. No.
Oh no, man. I appreciate you bringing up a very important question. And another thing too, I got to say this because I do follow some of the things he talked. I was listening to Jason Black yesterday, and he made some very powerful statements about what are we leaving our kids. Are we leaving them property? Are we leaving them a legacy? And why are baby boomers getting old and saying, "Oh, my kids are going to take care of me"? Now when they had their opportunity to build themselves up and leave you something. A lot of younger generation are in a situation where now we're raising ourselves, we're taking care of ourselves, and we're in a situation where we have to take care of our parents. And I know that we should take care of our parents. We should help them in their old years. But the question is, within the Black community, are we leaving our kids more than just some words and wisdom? Are we leaving them physical property? Do you have a life insurance policy? See what I'm saying? What are we leaving them to? And if you are a father out there, you need to get your butt to some type of insurance agency or somewhere and open up a life insurance policy so that when you are no longer here, you are leaving something to your family, your children, or something. I don't want to sound preachy here. I do have life insurance. And I had a brother on here not too long ago, about a month ago, talk about this. There's a lot of us that are leaving this earth, and we're leaving this earth in a bad economic situation because we didn't proper prepare. So although this is Father's Day, as men, as fathers, you need to also think about what you're leaving your children after you're no longer here.
Information, man. I talk about that a lot on one of my channels, Points Blank Finance, where you hear these two words now that are becoming words, generational wealth. But I had a young man that I mentor, and he and I have collaborated several times. He's 22 years old, and he mentioned generational opportunities.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Generational opportunities. Right now, it is, I said it, I've heard it, I've said it, and I keep hearing it. I can't wait till my child turns 18 because then they're on their own. No. How about let's continue to prepare our children when we're gone? I have all of my children. I ain't got but two. I'm saying all like I got 15 of them set up. Their kids are set up right now. If I leave the face of the earth, they're taken care of.
Yes.
And if I get to a state in my life where I need to be taken care of, they don't have to spend their money. I'm putting things in place where they can take my money that's been gifted to them and make sure I'm okay.
Right. Because we don't want to put if we can't help it, we don't want to put economic burdens on our kids after we go. And now we've left them with a whole lot of debt that's hanging over their heads in a world where there's already people having debt on them. And I think that's an excellent point that you bring up, brother Point Blank's Travel.
And you know what, information, man, I'll be honest with you. I don't tell them about it because I don't want them to take me out or nothing. I won't let them know. They don't know they got all this. They might
Well,
take me away, but
yeah.
as a black man, seriously, as a black man, I feel good to know that I'm making this move.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how it works when we check up out of here. I don't know if, I don't know. Maybe I'll be able to look back down and say, okay, they kicking it or whatever. But I know I'll feel good right now, today, June 19, 2022, to know that I have something in place for my two daughters. One's 34, one's 24. 3 grandkids. I know I have something in place for them to say when I am going. My great grandfather left his kids, 4 kids, during the Great Depression, $100,000 a piece and 40 acres a piece. He had 4 kids. And I came to the conclusion, I said, if my great grandfather during the Great Depression as a black man could do that, surely in today's society, I could leave something to my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We should do that. We should be thinking on that in that terms. From the day that my child was born, I already start setting everything up.
Mm-hmm.
From day one she was born.
Yep.
And that's how we got to think, so that we don't leave. We just got to prepare for these sort of things. If you're going to, this is part of the responsibility when you have kids and you're a father, mother, but in particular a father. This is how you have to think. Let me do this. The brother had dropped off earlier, but let me bring Black Man Unfiltered on. Let's get him in here front and center. And once again, brother, thank you for always allowing me to come aboard your channel, your panels. I appreciate you. If I'm not mistaken, tell me if I'm wrong or right. You have 4 children, right?
No, I have 3 boys, 3 girls. I have 6.
Oh, whoa. Fantastic.
Right.
Okay. All right. We're talking about real fatherhood here. Wow. Now, can you convey to the audience today your experiences being a father, what it means to you being a father? We did have a very powerful conversation on your channel about the issue of how fathers should be more involved in the type of men that our daughters are dating, that we should have some involvement in that.
Exactly.
Don't just let any old raggedy individual walk through that door talking about, I'm dating your daughter. No, sucker. Who are you? What are you? Who sent you here? What is your... We're going to get into that, but go right ahead, brother. You got the floor.
When it comes to being a father, for me, man, having 6 different personalities from 18 years old and to 10, and having those different personalities, having teenage years come, having your little girls turn into young women, going through that process and the attitude changes, and it's a hell of a ride when they start transitioning. And I'm seeing a lot of transitioning now. With my 14-year-old and my 11-year-old and my 18-year-old is in college now, and she's still getting daddy's money. But I will say, it's a lovely thing, man. The day that I held my sons, I knew that they would be protectors, and the day I held my daughters, I knew they would be protected. And just to hold them in your hands, I mean, just to touch your daughters and they look up at you, that's just something that bonds you together. And if you have a daughter, you know what I'm talking about. It's something that attaches you to that daughter. And you, at that moment, I will give my life for these babies. And for all 6 of my babies, I will give my life for them. They know this. I'm pretty calm, laid back dude. I like to laugh, I like to have a good time. But when it comes to my babies, I like to have a good time, but I don't mind doing time for my babies. And so it is an amazing thing, man. It is an amazing thing to see them grow from little bitty babies in your arms, walking out the door, going to college. And you see your sons be little boys running up behind their daddy every day and loving on their mama. And now they loving on little girls. I'm teaching them right now about little girls, and then my daughters, I'm teaching them how important it is for their bodies, for them to love their bodies and what, because I tell them, the way you dress is the way you'll be addressed. And so
that's right.
And
that's
so,
right.
I tell my daughters I teach my daughters, and I give analogies to give them visuals. I tell them, hey, listen, baby girl, off the coast of Florida, there was a shipwreck. And in that shipwreck that was there after the hurricane hit Florida, the shipwreck came up out of the sand, out of the depths of the ocean.
and two divers, a man and his son, were there, and they found it. And they found gold and silver worth millions, but they also found a lot of barrels, I think 150 barrels of wine, 20-gallon barrels of wine that was there for over 150 years. And we know the longer wine sits, the better it is. And at the bottom of the ocean, it stayed cool. It didn't spoil. It didn't get too hot. And they selling these bottles of wine for $50,000 a bottle. And I told my daughter, you represent that bottle. You were covered, right? You were covered, but you now as a little girl, you were covered. You were under something nobody could see you. Now that you've come up out of the water, now you're a young lady and everybody sees you. Everybody wants you, but it's got to be that specific guy that will be able to take care of you, that could be able to afford to be in your life. I say either you can be the $50,000 bottle of wine or you can be the $4.99 barefoot bottle of wine at Walmart. You choose. If you put your body out there in the world, you're barefoot bottle of wine. But if you put yourself together and you get yourself together, you can be that wine that's so expensive that only a few can even approach you to even be in your life. So I try to teach my my sons as well to know what kind of woman. Don't get caught up in face and butt all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Don't worry about breasts. You worry about what's up here, son, because I don't want you to make the same mistakes Daddy made, right? Because me and my dad, he was there, but he was not there, right? And so we didn't talk about those things, right? Back in the day, all they said was keep your thing in your pants, and they didn't go into details. But I'm telling my sons, be careful, right? Be careful of a beautiful woman. And then I go biblical with my son because we are Christians. Everybody's not, but I'll say it. Even in biblical terms, I teach my son. The Bible teaches that it is better to sleep on the roof of your house and then inside the house with a quarrelsome woman, a woman that's angry and argues with you all the time. It is better to eat fruit with someone you love than a steak with someone you hate. I go through Proverbs and I read these things.
Yes. Tell the truth.
A righteous woman is a crown to her husband's head, but a woman that does not respect her man is cancer to his bones. I teach my children these verses.
Tell the truth.
I teach him this because so when he see Miss Ratchet, he can look at Ratchet and say, that ain't me. That ain't for me, because Daddy told me that's swine right there. And even you can't mess with swine. I told him, whatever you insert yourself in, I give analogies, guys. I'm not gonna long stroke this thing. I'm gonna be done in a minute because I ain't come here to preach. But I do tell them, son, listen, you got to look at dogs. And he said, Dad, I ain't on a dog. I said, no, but this is the analogy. If you take a pit bull dog, a blue-nosed pit bull dog, or a Rottweiler dog, and you put that Rottweiler and a mutt has sex with that female dog. Oh no, I switch it up. You're the Rottweiler, you're the prize, and you're gonna have sex with a mutt. You have now ruined your legacy. Because now you're going to have babies that weren't even supposed to be a part of the royalty that you were supposed to create.
Right. Yes.
But I'm not going to do a lot of preaching, man. I didn't want to come on your
show. No.
No.
It is necessary for people to hear this.
Tell the truth.
What I'm about to do, this is about telling the truth and shaming the devil. What I'm about to do, I'm going to drop Black Man Unfiltered's link to his channel. This is both Black Man Unfiltered and Sir Hale Speaks Network.
My brother.
Both of those, that's his brother over there. Yeah. Both of those channels. If any of you all are wondering, where does Info Man hang out these days? What panels can you find me on? These are two channels that you can find me occasionally on the panel having real serious conversations with the brothers and the sisters that he brings up on the panel. So if y'all want to know where I hang out at these days on the YouTube streets, I do a lot of hanging out on both these brothers' channels. Sir Hale Speak, who will be coming on here for an interview with me. I'll be bringing this brother Black back exclusively for an interview as well and promoting the channel. So go over there and subscribe to his channel. I just dropped his link in the chat room right now. Give him some love. And also that's where you can see me hanging out from time to time on those particular two networks.
And we're about to do some work together as well. I mean, we got the intellectuals.
Most definitely.
Well, we're going to be teaching young men how to be young men, and even some men that didn't have guidance from father. We could teach them, and then the single moms. You're raising boys right now. You don't know where to go. You're lost. Your boys are out of line. What we want to do is we want you to call in, want you to talk to us so we can give you some insight on what to do with your son, where to put him, any organizations that may be able to help your son. So we're here to do the work. We're trying to do the work. So thank you, man, for everything you're doing, brother.
Oh, thank you. This is the area that I want you to talk about, though.
Absolutely.
I can't let you get out of here without. We had a very candid conversation on your channel with a few other brothers, of course.
Yes.
And we talked about the whole vetting, the vetting issues around vetting the young men who come into the lives of our daughter. Now, I know people don't want to hear this. There was a time where the fathers would find a potential partner or someone that a woman would marry because he hit certain criterias, and they would do matchmaking. Now I know people hawk at that because you say, "Oh, you're putting me with someone that I don't even love," and I get that. We're in this modern world, but that's how the culture used to be. The fathers would seek out young men who had certain things going for them. Absolutely. Because they wanted their daughters to be in the best situation economically, spiritually, the whole 9 yards. Exactly. Now, I understand as a woman, as a man, we want to fall in love. We want to find the person organically, like, oh, I've fallen in love. But the question we're putting on the table here is, and this is for the women, to the ladies. I want to hear what the ladies have to say about this. Should the fathers be more involved in these modern times that we live in the type of young man that the daughter is dating? Shouldn't fathers have more influence in checkmating that individual? I'm gonna stop right there. Let me let Black Man Unfiltered say this.
I feel the passion in your voice. And because we share that passion, ain't no Rudy Poo Tootie Toot Hoot coming through my door telling me he's dating my daughter, because the first thing we got to do, son, I gotta pull your soul out. I gotta pull your credit score out. I gotta pull out where your life going, where you're headed, and where you're being, because my daughter ain't gonna be in the middle of nothing. All right. And so that's the first thing you got to understand. I carried her as an infant. You trying to be with her as a woman, so I know her better than you. So sometimes our girl, and I told my daughter, I say, I have an expectation for your life. And I said, so when you bring a man in here, I said, the disrespectful thing, I say, don't be disrespectful. She said, Dad, I won't be disrespectful. Why would you say that? I said, the disrespectful thing is you bringing a man into my home that's doing less for you than I've done.
Whoa!
Tell the truth.
You can't bring a man in my living room that I'm paying for, and he's taking you to Burger King, and I've taken you to the Listen,
tell the truth.
Bring a man in my living room that lets you get out of your own car door when I open your door for you. You can't
tell the truth.
You can allow a man to call you out your name when I called you by your name since you was a baby. This is not what we're going to do, because I don't mind. Listen, I got a retainer for people like you. See, that's what I told my daughter's last boyfriend. I have a retainer for somebody like you, because if you come in here and you think, hey, let me tell you what he did, guys. Let me give you some insight. I wish my daughter was in here. She'd be so embarrassed. But he's gonna come in here and say, hey, my girl here. I said, get your shit and get out. Matter of fact, here go your keys. Get your ass out my house. My daughter come out the room. Where's he at? I said, he gone. He ain't coming back. And I said, you disrespected me. She said, why'd you disrespect me? I said, because you brought somebody here that if he's like that, he's nothing like me. And I raised you to see me. I took you on daddy-daughter dates. I invested my time into you. Do not let my investment go to waste. And I dropped the mic, my guy. That's what I tell him about.
Truth.
Men, you a retainer for little young men like that. You're gonna need it.
Listen, so, Black Man Unfiltered, you just got another subscriber right here, because you sound exactly like my father.
Absolutely.
Word for word.
So I want to take a vote right now. I want to know how the ladies in the chat room feel about what Black Man Unfiltered just said. I want to know how you all feel about that, because what we just said, I know that we're living in a society today where people want to break away from traditional values. But that's one traditional value that I think that has hurt us. I think it is important for the father, because when you get married, Bella, tell me I'm wrong or right, because Black Man Unfiltered has said this too. When you get married, or when women get married, or people get married, what does the pastor say? He says, who will give? What does he say?
Who gives?
This woman away? Who will give her away? Who will give her to this man?
Can I add something?
Absolutely.
See, because a lot of people say, the other night on the panel, I got hot enough to warm up a bottle.
That's right.
Let me tell you what happened. There was a young man that says we don't own our daughters. Our daughters can do what they want to do. Hell no. No way I'm going to invest 18 years, 19 years into my daughter and then say, go do what you want to do with what I've invested in. Yes, you are under my covering until the day the pastor says, who gives this woman away? And so that means, ladies and gentlemen, that I have to be her father and her covering and her leaders. And I'm gonna tell you something, it ain't easy, because sometimes your daughters rebel because they don't know what's best for them. And that's how you know you got to cover them, because they ain't at a point where they know what's best for them yet.
Right.
And so sometimes they'll rebel. My daughter has rebelled, but at the end of the day, she was a boomerang. She come right back to the man that loved her the most. She can't find nobody that love her like daddy.
My spirit
so you can't find nobody that love you like daddy. That's why you keep running. I told her you're gonna keep running into a wall because you ain't found nobody like daddy. So daddy is here for you. Daddy loves you. He cares for you. He's gonna be tough on you. He's gonna tough love you. He's going to be there. He's going to inspire you. But at the end of the day, I need you to be more of a woman. I need you to carry yourself. I don't need you to put more miles on yourself. Come on, somebody out here listening.
So, how many of the ladies or folks in the, just take a vote. If you agree with what Black Man Filter has just put down here, what he has just said in terms of the involvement of, this is Father's Day, and part of being a father, part of that is that we give our daughters away to the man that daughter is going to marry. And the preacher says, who gives this woman away? It is the father. And it is the father in the household, when you have a functional man in the household who is supposed to vet the kind of boys that young lady is dating. Now, for those of you who are saying, well, you're just coming down on the women. No, as men, we vet the sons as well, because I wouldn't want any, I hate to say this, I wouldn't want any ratchet thought or anyone of that nature rocking with my son. So even men look at the kind of women that sometimes our sons, I remember, get into these anecdotal stories. I have an uncle back east in Baltimore, and he talked about how he didn't approve of my cousin's choice in female.
Come on.
And they had a falling out over it. And he said, you got to get her, you got to get out, and she's got to get out too. And so just in case someone's saying, oh, y'all just talking about coming down on ladies. I get it. But sometimes men as fathers, we have to come down on our sons' poor choice in women too.
Absolutely.
Now, how often does it happen that way in balance? I can't say for sure. Because we do know that there is some biases, because as men, Black Men Unfiltered, you know this, as men, we have a certain more emotional feeling about our daughters, even more so than our sons. You notice how sons bond with the mothers a little bit more, and daughters bond with the fathers a little bit more. We feel like we feel a little bit extra when somebody's messing with our daughters.
Exactly.
We put a little extra extra mustard on it. Okay. I'm telling the truth.
And you know what else? I remember my grandfather. Oh man, I miss him so much. Happy Father's Day to you up in heaven, man. But I miss my grandfather, because my grandfather used to drop these jewels on me. And this knowledge that you're hearing from me came from the shade tree in Louisiana, right on the bayou, under the tree, listening to grandpa talk and uncles talk around the tree. And my grandfather used to say, they said, why are you not on? The women came and asked my grandfather, why are you not on these boys like you on these girls? He said, I am on the boys. He said, but I'm a little hard on the girls for a very particular reason. And they said, why is that, Robert? He said,
y'all gonna love this one. Go ahead.
oh yeah, he said the reason is because with my sons I have to worry about one penis, but with my daughters I have to worry about several. So
Lord,
tell the truth.
I gotta talk to my daughter and get my
Tell the
daughter
truth.
away from Penisville, because what happens is our daughters are brand new cars. What we don't want our daughters to do is become Hertz, because everybody know Hertz. Everybody go rent a car, get in it, get out of it, take it to another spot. Somebody else rent it, get in it, get out of it, go to another spot. Somebody else rent it, get out. We don't want U-Haul and Hertz daughters. So what we have to do is we have to tell our daughters to manage yourself. Make sure when you get with your man that you don't have so many. Listen to me. Let me tell y'all something. I done got fired up. I drew a picture. I drew a picture for my daughter in the shape of a pie, and I drew a circle and I drew lines in it and made it like a pie. And in that circle, I said, "Baby, when you grow up and you have so many sexual partners, because we need to have these conversations." And I say, if you have Billy here, David here, John here, because you got 12 slices of pie, then you got Eric over here, then you got Damien right here, then you got Earl over here, then you got Information Man right here. I said, by the time you get to your husband, you only got one slice of pie left on one that had 12.
There you go.
What are you
Tell the truth.
You can't even put a whole pie on the table for your husband because you've decided to tie your soul to so many others. I said, baby, when you're driving down the street and a song come on the radio and you remember Pookie and Ray Way was mid-stroke inside your body and he didn't do nothing for it. You put a baby and you made you a statistic. Now you're drawn to him and you can't even see your husband. Man,
Truth.
I done got fired.
Tell the truth.
Truth.
Black man unfiltered. You over here dropping boulders.
Right.
baby.
That's why y'all need to get over to his channel.
I love it.
Subscribe, because he drops this type of knowledge all the time on his program. He has panels. He has all different subject matters. He has a variety of different people who do different shows over there. That's why you need to go check him out and be a part of what he's got going on over there. And like, I want to repeat this again. If y'all want to know where I hang out at on panels and get into these kind of heavy conversations sometimes, I hang out on his channel and I hang out over on Sir Hell, because the reason why I do that is because they have intelligent conversation over there. I don't just want to be on anybody's damn panels these days. If you know how it can be on these YouTube streets, it gets kind of crazy. I don't want to be on those kind of crazy panels anymore. So that's why I appreciate what he's saying here. Now, let me do this. I'm going to bring identity.
Can I add one more
Go
thing?
ahead. Go ahead.
In my spirit. So
Go
listen,
ahead.
Sometimes, and I'm going to say this, it ain't going to be sexy, but I don't care. Everything ain't sexy. Sometimes men out there, men are married to the very woman that tries to prevent the man from getting on the daughter and getting on the son husband. Let me explain. Men, we have to take, I'm going to get deep here. Men, you have to take your nuts back. And let me tell you what that means. That means if you're married to a woman and that woman tell you, oh, that's okay, she can dress like that, she going through a phase. You tell her, listen, you're going through a phase right now because you're not understanding what it is to be a man. And when a man I've been a man before, I've seen women like this, I've laid with women like this, and I don't want my child out in those streets looking and behaving in a way that's going to get her in a situation that she can't get out of. Who wants their daughter to be a statistic? So men, I'm telling you right now, you don't have to cuss your wife out. You don't have to treat her bad. Just go up to her and say, baby, hush.
Right on. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
So let me.
Man, I got a quick question for Black.
Go ahead. Go ahead, my brother.
Have you ever had one of your daughters say, "Hey, Dad, you just want a woman. You just want me to be with a man just like you."
Exactly. Yeah.
And I say, my answer was, I don't want a man to be like me. I want a man to have sort of the same mindset that I have.
Yeah. You want the quality and the principles and character that you would like your daughter to marry a man of that stature.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, we need to vet these characters. Yep. And I'm going to say this again for the cheap seats. Men, we need to vet the females that our sons are running around with.
Exactly.
Because I'm going to be honest with you, and this brother right here, that's my fraternity brother, Laurel Dean, who's coming on the Information Man show. We grew up in the same harsh streets of the Fillmore area of San Francisco. And we know of someone who was running around with a girl who was not a very good character. And he lost his life messing around with this girl because she still had another dude who was jealous ways. Then once again, I'm gonna preface this. I'm not trying to come down on women because certainly we got our daughters running around with thugs as well sometimes. I'm not saying that anybody out here does. I'm saying we have daughters who could potentially be with a dude who can get her in some really heavy problems too. But let me bring on, because I got Identity with Hell. I want to hear from him. Brother Laurel Dean, you're on the Information Man show, Info Man here. Brother, you have a son. We had a private conversation today. You had to make certain, you had to take certain actions as a father to teach your son certain lessons in life, because sometimes sons try to get a little bit too big for their britches. Sometimes when they begin to get a little bit older and they think they're smelling themselves, we have to let them know, I'm still the father and you're still the son. Laurel Dean, let me give you a clap. And unmute yourself, brother, and give us a few words about being a father and of course, some of the things you have to deal with, the ups and downs of fatherhood, especially with having a son. Unmute yourself, brother. Go ahead.
All right. My apologies. I know y'all see me on camera maneuvering, going this and that way. You know, the one thing about being a man is that safety is always important, and we always try to make sure that we protect our family, we protect our friends, we protect the people we love, but sometimes we forget to protect ourselves from ourselves. But with that being said, happy Father's Day to all the fathers on the panel and the channel. Happy Superwoman's Day to all the single moms who try to make sure that the men that they raise get into a mature but structured way of being a better man than their dad was or people they were raised to be. But moving forward, I just got on the back end. I had a beautiful brunch. I was with a couple of family members and people who are dear to me, and it's been a beautiful day. Very humbling. That's a word we use in our fraternity. It's humble, being humble. My father, leading forward, my father had his second stroke in September of last year. So I've been back and forth between here in St. Louis and California, and I woke up this morning in tears.
Oh, wow.
Because I was thankful to have a man who was blue collar. Not saying all his decisions were right or wrong, but he grew up in a world where these right here paid the bills. And so I find myself humble to be thankful for that, but also wishing to just have one last conversation, even if I pissed him off or he pissed me off.
Right.
And just the mere dialogue of one you've been sprung off from is humbling. And sometimes we take that for granted. Whether they're right or wrong or your beliefs are different, we definitely take it for granted as humans. Raising a child starting at the age of 30. That means all my shenanigans were still going. I was still doing my thing. I was like, hey, I'm going to make this work and what have you. And it was hard. It was a struggle. Even when I settled down and realized the mother of my child is who I wanted to be. And she forgot that. And I won't say she forgot. She just chose another path. Is a better way of putting it, out of respect to her. And being thankful to her. Because she gave birth to my son. She could have said nothing. A woman's body, in this era, a woman's body and choice is their choice. And for her to take the honor and liberty to be the mother of my child, regardless if she hate me or love me, is an honor. And I'm learning that as a man moving forward. My son is 19, raising him through the struggle. But the most important thing is always being in their presence. And that's what I've learned. They're gonna have their own ideology. They're gonna hate they look just like you sometimes. But the one thing that's always a blessing is that your voice is still on this realm of life. And that's the one thing I've learned to appreciate as much as possible. Is that the true treasure worth, riches, gold is your children, because the wheel can't keep turning when you're gone. The wheel has to keep turning in life, and our children are part of that wheel. And you want their position in that wheel to be easy, successful, comfortable. Well, they are a part of the wheel of life under any circumstance. So I'm very humble and proud that my son graduated out of high school. He has his diploma. So the doors have opened. We are still in our struggles. You know, he's 19, so he thinks he knows everything. And I told brother Sean, information man, I'm very proud of him and what he's accomplished so far. And now he's made me interested in what he does. That's what fathers do. Hey, how did you build that deck? That deck looks nice. How can I do it? Hey, brother, I'll show you how to build your own deck. And so that's what today is a part of too. It's just a lot of brotherhood and fellowshipping.
Right.
My son is 19, like I said, and I want the best for him. But Sean, I don't have a problem admitting this because I'm that true to myself, and you know me. I've always told the truth about me, even if it was against the grain. My son at 19 is scared right now. And I'm not talking about just scared in one dimension. I mean in life. Like I said, after 18, you think you know it all. You got your high school diploma. But when the gates of life open up to you, you don't know which way you're going. Dad, I know what I'm doing. Why you asking me that? I already knew that already. Yeah, the small things.
Yes.
The gated, you know what's inside the gate.
Right.
Not the gated fence.
Right.
You know, outside the gate is a whole nother frontier. And we learned that. And that was the blessing of being a part of my organization, that it helped me learn the law of the land, trial and error, you know, to move forward and grow, to still be a man learning to be a better man every day. And so, two stories, really. I'm sorry. So, since you don't know this, I'm a parking control officer, and I'm a high school basketball coach. So that means I got to be a good guy on the weekends, and I got to be an asshole on the weekdays. But I'm not. I'm more like, why did you do this? Do you want to pay for it or not? Like, I'm like your judge, but I don't want to be your judge. I really want you to give me a true story, and it's up to me to decide that, to let you go or make you pay the price. And one day I was towing, and I like doing it in light places because I don't like to tow cars. It's just my phobia. And one day there's this white Honda, and this white Honda is sitting right there. I'm like, who in God's name, 4 blocks straight, clear, a quarter mile, clear. Who would leave this white, blatant Honda right here? So I walk up to it, spark my curiosity, and the passenger door was open. Wait a minute, whoa, this might be stolen. And I live in San Francisco. So San Francisco has one of the highest crime rates for car theft. And so I'm like, oh snap, something happened. And I'm looking and I'm like, man, this is a junky car. This is a real junky car. And so the passenger door is cracked open. And I'm looking, I'm like, wait a minute. I know that deck is a Sony deck. I bought a deck for my son. Exact same deck. No screen, just regular radio. Wait a minute. The bumper's a little clipped off. Hey, wait a minute. My son's car is clipped. If there's Bondo on the door, on the driver's door, because someone had a pellet gun and dented the door and punctured it, and I got it at Bondo, there's Bondo on that driver's side door. That got to be my son's car. I walk around the car like I do as an officer. Expect every part bumper to bumper. I see it. I see the Bondo. It's my son. I said, what? I said, wait, hold on. So mind you, for the sidebar, I paid $3,500 for the car. I don't worry about the gas. That's your business. You don't get gas money from me, you earn it. At the same time, $35 plus a ticket. Sorry.
Yeah, there's some sound issues.
Yeah, no, someone was calling me. My apologies. plus $100 for the ticket, plus $685 for the tow. $500 goes to the tow truck. The other two at $185 goes to the city. And I said, wait, hold on. Where's this boy at? Where can I find him? There was this small 24-hour fitness. The one thing about my son is he loves being he's a fit nut. He loves it. I go in there, I say, is there Darius Dean there? Yes, he is. Okay. He told him to come out here, please. Like, yes. I said, he's like, Dad, what you doing? What's wrong with you? And I said,
He's freezing. Yeah, he's on a phone. You're frozen, brother.
Oh, so information, man. I got to get back to the fam. But listen, brother, I love you, man. I love your platform. Thank you for allowing me to come on and speak with you guys tonight. Tonight, man. And it was an amazing conversation. Can't wait to get back over here, man. And be with Information Man on this platform. I appreciate you, man, so much for having me on today.
All right, here go a clap for you. Hey, I appreciate you too. Black Man Unfiltered. Thank you. Make sure y'all check out Black Man Unfiltered Network. Great program over there. He's got a great build. A lot of great guests that come on over there for great panel discussions. He's got a whole bunch of different personalities over there that have different types of subject matters that they talk about during the week. So check that brother out. He's got 6 kids. He's doing the thing as a father, doing the right things. And I agree with him 100% that as fathers, we should be more involved in vetting the type of individuals that get into the lives of both our daughters and our sons. But we do have an appetite for making sure that our daughters don't get themselves caught up with some of these raggities out here.
Exactly.
We just got to keep it 100% real. So thank you again, brother.
Not a problem, man. Thank you guys, man. Y'all have a good night, man. And happy Father's Day to all the men that are fathers, man. Happy Father's Day, brother.
Happy Father's Day.
Are you on IG, Black Man?
I am. Yes.
Yeah. He follows me. You can find him on the IG at Black Man Unfiltered. You all go over there and follow him on the Instagram, and then go on over there and check out the channel, subscribe, and hopefully when I go over there, I'll be very pleasant to see people in the chat room that are rocking with me over here too. So I appreciate everybody in that chat room. And before we go on, as I give brother Black Man Unfiltered another clap, I want to shout out some of the folks in the chat room because I have not been able to shout people out in a while. And a lot of people have been rocking with us most of the day. Real Aaron Collins, the guy from Texas, Back to the Basics, Narratives and Dialogue. He's a member of our organization. We've got a Canada-born Nigerian. This brother is, love this brother over here. He hangs out over there and he's been on some of our panels. And I love him. I want to put him on the board here if I can see him in the chat room here. We got Von 11 is in the house. Good to see you. Von 11 is in the house. Empress Queen. Oh, here he is right here in the house saying good evening. He's over in Canada, and I've been on panels with this brother, and he makes a hell of a lot of sense. Very practical, logical brother here, by way of Nigeria, and he lives in Canada, and has a lot of respect for me, and I respect him. So I just want to give him a clap in the chat room. Back to the Basics. Real Aaron Collins, Naturals in the house. The Honorable Sister Honorable is in the house. Angelina Nordstrom. We got Livingston that's in the house. Thank you. And we got the guy from Texas. We got Brother Truth who came in the house. Give him a clap. French Wee Wee is in the house. I just want to give everybody some respect because you've been rocking with us for quite a while. You're in the chat room, and you guys are in the chat room speaking to each other, talking about the subject matter. And I hadn't had a chance to shout any of you out. I think Glorion Murray gave me a super chat earlier. I want to thank her as well.
Thank you for the super chat.
And, I know it's Father's Day, so I don't want to make this a super long stream as it already has been, but I'm going to get ready to wrap this up very soon. But what I want to do before I wrap it up is I do want to give Identity Withheld an opportunity to speak on this issue. And I do want, Laurel, what I want, for the sake of time, brother, let's try to get to the punchline of the situation. You stopped. You came upon a car that was your son's car, that you had to deal with in your business, in your work capacity, right?
Right. So let me just make it. I'm gonna wrap it up real quick because I'm
Go
sorry to
right
be a
ahead,
long
brother.
winded.
I don't want me to
Uh,
rush you, but for the sake of
no, no,
time
no, no,
here.
no. It's all good. The bottom line is that it's a learning process from father to son. You know, you can teach your children everything to do, but the thing about it, they have to experience it for themselves. So
Yes.
he taught me a valuable lesson as a father. I can tell you, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. But until you actually experience it, then you won't really understand. And that was what I was trying to get to. The bottom line is that I have just found out today, brother, as I spoke to you after an hour
Uh-oh,
ago.
here we come. Wait a minute, here we go. Wait a minute. Wait, here go the breaking. We need breaking news for this.
Information is power.
All right, brother. The breaking news.
So as of Thursday of next week, me and my son will be going to Kaiser Permanente so he can take a DNA test for possibly being the father of a boy. So I am possibly a grandfather.
Whoa. So you are moving into grandfather land now. Whoa.
Tell the truth.
Whoa. Okay,
So,
now.
so he's been, like I said, fear is a powerful thing, and fear is not just one dimensional. And he's been afraid to tell me this. Been afraid to get the test. I just pushed him and told him I love him, and I said no matter whatever the outcome is, you'll always be my son, and I'll always be here for you. And I
Right.
lead by example. And so
Right.
he agreed an hour ago to go to Kaiser with me, and I said, hey, I'll buy you lunch, dinner, whatever. And we are going to test. We're going to take a DNA test with this beautiful young man, this beautiful baby, I should say, a beautiful future man. And we're going to find out if he's my son's son or if not. So
That's
I am
very
walking into,
important. That's very important.
and you're right, man. As you can tell, I'm lost for words. But either way, thank you for letting me be a part of this. Like I said, happy Father's Day to all the brothers that and men across your platform and what you give, information, man, and also happy Super Mother's Day to all our single mothers who paved the way to make young men look want to be better than what their outcome has been. So you got to give shout out to a queen if you're a king today as well. There's no other way. So I thank you
Right.
for today.
We do have to shout out the women out there who've done the best they can to try to raise young men and raise children. But what we want to do though, Laurel, as best we can, is we need to see how we as men can step up and change the narrative so that we have less single black women in our communities. So we need black men once they determine, just as your son, if it is found out in a DNA test that it is in fact his son, that means that your son will have to step up to be in the life of that child going forward. And I don't need to tell you that already. You know that, but this is how we can destroy these narratives because, as I said earlier today, there are black men that are living with their kids and involved in their kids' life, and there are black men who are not living with their kids but are involved in their child's life. So however this whole thing rolls with your son, the main thing is that he is in the life of that child, specifically if the DNA test pans it all out. And so as we want to recognize single mothers that do raise kids as best they can, I'm interested in a way we can neutralize that trend downward, because the thing I don't like about the single parent thing is that I just don't like the sound of it. I don't like what it means, implications of it. And I'm going to say this too, and I know some of the ladies won't like this. Sometimes our women will define themselves as a single mother, even when the father is in the life of the child, because it becomes a language that we have been conditioned to culturally to continue saying. I get it. women will see themselves as single mothers because they're not in a relationship or with the father. But when I think of single, and maybe I'm wrong and the ladies can correct me, when I think of single, I look at it as you are single in meaning you get no help whatsoever from the father of the child. No financial help, spiritual help, no nothing. He's not there. He's not doing anything for that kid. No financial help, no emotional help, no support. I see women, black women, or any woman who is in that particular situation that I speak of as being a true single mother versus a woman who is single in relationship, but not single in terms of the contribution that the father is paying or the father is contributing to that child's life. And I think oftentimes in our culture, we have been conditioned to say that word single, 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 single. And I'll be honest with you, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right here. Maybe people ain't gonna like what I'm gonna say here. I don't see oftentimes men who are taking care of their kids financially or have custody of their kids. I don't often hear men say, I'm a single father. We don't often beat that drum. We don't often shout that out on the mountaintop. I'm a single father. I'm a single father. I don't often hear men talking like that when they are in fact have full custody of the child. And they say, I'm a single, unless the woman is just totally out of the picture, meaning she's not involved in the child's life at all. But overall, I don't know. Maybe ladies can tell me something. I don't know, Bella, Bella. Do you hear many men shouting out in the mountaintop, I'm a single father in that particular narrative that I'm talking about?
I don't. And I have to say, I am a divorcee, so I am a product of divorce as well. I divorced my husband several years ago. We had 2 children together, a boy and a girl, and I never classified myself as a single mother. I always classified myself as a divorced mother of 2. And I do, before I even get on that subject, I do want to go back to Black Man Unfiltered because he said something that really spoke to my heart. Being a daughter of a father who had 2 girls and me being the first girl. He gave me away at my wedding to my husband, and he was a poet. My father's no longer with us, but he was a poet, among other things. He was a jack of all trades, and a master of many. So he wrote a poem when I was first born, which, amongst other things, also gave the reason for my name because he named me.
Wow.
So he gave me my given name. And then at my wedding, he said something, and somebody took a picture of it, and I look at that picture and I'm like, yeah, I love my dad. But one thing that he said that was so profound to me was that he said in front of everyone, I raised a princess. I treated her as a princess. I raised her as a princess. And when I gave her away tonight, I gave her away to her husband as a queen. He now has to treat her as a queen. I raised a princess. She was a girl, and she went through her formative years until the time she became an adult, 21.
Yes.
Now she is no longer a princess. She's no longer my princess. She is now your queen. And it is up to you now to treat her in that manner.
Yes.
And many people, when they come to my channel and they see things, they say, oh my God, you're a queen. You carry yourself as this, you carry yourself as that. And I say, in all of those cases, it is because of my dad and how he raised me in our formative years. And I will say because again, he was not in the home every single day, but I never lacked for anything. I always knew where he was. He always came and got me, or I always went to see him. I never lacked for anything. Anything. My first car, Point blank, Joe was like, my voice car was a BMW. I'm sorry, not BMW.
Yeah, she know I'm about to talk smack information,
My,
man.
my,
Just sitting
my
back
first car
listening.
was a Benz. Sorry, my first car
Yeah,
was a Benz, not BMW.
that's cool.
But BMW was in my head because my grandmother always said, his mother always said, "Oh, we don't like those BMWs. We like the Mercer Benza." She was Panamanian, so she didn't get the right phrases correct. So she would call it Mercer Benza. She was like, "We gotta have the Mercer Benza in the house. Like she's got to get the Mercer Benza."
Mm-hmm.
So my father was always like, "Okay, if I'm pushing this car, if I'm driving this, then the people who I love are going to be driving the same thing." So that was his mindset.
All
And
right.
he always said, throughout my formative years, if a man does not treat you at the bare minimum the way you have been raised in this house, and even though he wasn't in the house, it was still his house. Like it was
Yes.
still, his house with my mom. If they can't treat you the way that I've treated you in this house, you don't need them. You
Mm-hmm.
don't need them.
Right.
So I've always lived my life in that manner. Like for me, a man is supposed to be, as I am to him, a helpmate. I am my man's helpmate. I want to be that person that he can rely on whenever he needs, advice or
Mm-hmm.
guidance in something. I want to be that person's helpmate. And
Well,
what my father and my mother always were, even when they were divorced. They were
see, the
always
reason, see, Bella, let me tell you something.
Mhm.
Well, let me not tell you something. Let me express something to you
Sure.
respectfully. What I hear men speaking about on some of the panels that I've been on in the past and currently is
Mhm.
exactly what you just said. That men want to come home to peace, and we want a woman in our life to be someone that helps us. That's one of the reasons, if you look at it from the biblical point of view, why women were created as a helper and to balance out men, to work forward in balance. And this is often what men say that I'm talking about real men worth their salt and gold, what they're really looking for. And oftentimes, some ladies do not talk and see it that way as you just saw it. And I think the reason why you saw it that way is because women, and this is not sexist, but I think women learn how to treat their men, and particularly their husbands, based on how they saw their mother treat their father in the household. So if you grow up in a functionable household that's not dysfunctional, and you see love between the father and the mother, and it isn't this whole thing about, oh, the wife is a slave to the man. If you really look at how our parents and parents, back in the day, your grandparents, if people really studied how they treated each other, how they worked together in tandem, and they showed love to each other. And I know people have had dysfunctional things happen in their families and stuff like that that's affected them. People have been touched. I get that part of it too, is reality. But when women grow up, tell me if I'm wrong, if women grow up and they see that love and they see how their mother treats their father, doesn't that give women a certain more respect and understanding on how potentially they should treat a man? I'm talking about a proper man, not a musty, dusty, and crusty now. Because someone's going to say, well, not all men deserve that kind. No, I'm talking about the men who do deserve the treatment. They work, they have a profession, they have a business, they're taking care of you, they're treating you the way you want to be treated. So shouldn't they get that? Shouldn't they get the attention that they need from you to listen to them, to help them? Shouldn't a man get what he desires if he is doing exactly what you as the woman want? Talking about Father's Day here. That's part of being a father too.
Absolutely. I will say this to information man. I don't know about your family, but I grew up, both sides of my family, my grandparents were married over 50 years, both sides, over 50 years. And I will tell you, you go to either family reunions or the picnics or the get-togethers or whatever, you will see the women in both sides of my family. My mother's side grew up in the South, so they're all Southern-based people. My father's side grew up were West Indian and Central American. But both sides, you will see the women in the kitchen, not because we're women and we want to be, but because we want to be. We want to be helpmates to our partners. And my aunts, my grandmother, my mother, me, I wasn't even married, and I'm in the kitchen. I wasn't even cooking, but I was bringing plates out to my grandfather. I was bringing plates out to my uncles. I was bringing plates out to my dad. When they wanted cocktails or whatever, I was at the bar mixing stuff. I grew up with that. And so when you grow up with that, when you come and get into your own family, that's what you want to do. That's what you want to do wholeheartedly, is to make sure your man feels like they have a balm in you. They have that peace, they have that solitude. And I saw it in every man I ever served a plate to, whether it was my uncle, my dad, my grandfather, whoever, my cousins, whoever. When their woman brings them a plate of whatever it is, the look that comes on their faces is just one of pure joy and adulation. And that is something that I always carried with me in my heart. Like, wow, they appreciate the fact that their woman not is serving them, because it's not really that. It's not really that we're serving them. It's that we want you as the man to feel that appreciation from us.
Right.
And
that's what a lot of men
faces when you get that appreciation is priceless. It really, truly is.
And Brown Bella girl, that's exactly
we got to get you Brown Girl Bella.
Brown Girl Bella. I'm sorry. I meant that's what I really meant, sister. I'm getting tired here, but look. That's exactly what men like and want out of in terms of equality of woman. That's what we like, ladies. That's what we like. See, just like you want us to do for you what you like, do for us what we like, and you have a better balanced situation. But let me do something here, because and look, I appreciate you, sister, because you really put it where the ghost can get it. You told the truth there. I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody today. What I want to do now, because he has been more than patient. I want to get identity withheld in, but I want to get point blank travel before I bring him in, because I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. But I want identity withheld to speak on whatever is on his mind. Point blank travel. Is there anything that you want to add, brother? Because you've been quiet for a while too. Before I bring identity withheld in.
Here, man. I want to thank you. I took my glasses off, yo. I'm about to roll out of here. What Brown Girl Bella just said, and
Brown Girl Bella.
Something in a minute, but I appreciate everything you're doing. I appreciate everybody that's been on the panel tonight, this evening. But one thing I want people to think, when they think about Father's Day is more than just your children. It's also your spouses, your better halves. You as a male, what are you bringing to the table? I think I want people to think about, Brown Girl Bella always dropped those boulders. She always dropping that knowledge.
Yes, she is.
And man, it has been wonderful being up here. I have my daughter on the phone right now. I'm talking to her about interviewing her on my channel, The Points Blank Experience. She's a so I'm so excited. So I'm about to get up off here.
Right.
We'll be going live in about, 35-40 minutes. Blessings, salutes, respect my brother, Laurel, identity withheld, Earl, my queen, Brown Girl Bella. Much love to all y'all. Respect to all y'all. I got to roll, though, but I will be seeing you soon, my man. We will be out with each other. Peace to everybody in the chat. Love and blessings. And I'll see y'all around.
All right, brother. Got to give you that clap. Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to wrap up, that was Point Blank's Travel. You must check him out. He's got a lot of great things going on his channel. And of course, we have Brown Girl Bella, who's fantastic. She really said some things that a lot of men are looking for. I really think that ladies definitely take some notes down. These are some of the things that men are looking for, at least quality men are looking for women who bring that to the table. So now what I want to do is I want to bring in Identity Withheld and give him a clap. He has been more than patient. I mean, more than patient, but he is here. And now the floor is yours, sir, as I get ready to close out. But take your time, no rush.
Okay. I was going to spit fire because I know you're getting tired here.
No, just take your time. And
Okay.
because I have to do that because you've been more than patient waiting and listening to everyone's conversations.
Yeah, I think if the conversation keeps going, everybody's going to take my point. So, but it's cool. It's cool. I understand. We're all thinking alike, which is great. But peace to everybody on the panel. I've been enjoying the conversation. I am a proud father. The greatest day in my life was the scariest day of my life with giving birth to my child, and thought I was prepared for that level of responsibility until that child hit just until that child came out. That wave of feeling of, oh my God, my level of protection went up tenfold. Like and I didn't expect it, and I'm like, that was the scariest, but yet I appreciate it because it's going to make me a better father. At least that's what I think it's going to do. But I wanted to actually touch on what uh, who was on earlier. He dropped off. He was
Was it
dropping jewels.
let me see, was
Black.
it Black Man Unfiltered?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
go
And
ahead, brother.
he mentioned that he wants someone to take over. Taking care of his child. Now this is your queen. This is going to be your queen. I always thought of it as I want anyone to take over my job as me being the minimum of him. I
Okay.
want him to be the minimum, at least the minimum of me. Because I want it, even if I overshoot it, I mean, it's okay. I just want at least 80 to 90% of those values that are instilled. And I got a long ways to go there, but like I said, I'm speaking it into fruition at this point that I never really appreciated parents who selected their mates until I got older and realized why would you leave a decision of a child's future in that child's hand who has no experience when their parents most likely have experiences they can learn from?
Right. And
I never thought of it that way
right.
until I got older.
Right. We had that conversation, and I know it sounds a little biblical or ancient times to people. I understand people want to fall in love naturally with people, but I just think that fathers do need to take more of an active role in assessing the men that both the son and the daughter is bringing home. But I like what Black Man Filter said. He said his grandfather told him the reason why you treat the daughter a little bit different, because with the daughter, you got more penises to worry about. With the son, you've got one penis to deal with. And I thought that was a brilliant statement he said, because you've got all these penises trying to get in your daughter's pants. Let's just keep it real.
That's 100% true. You gotta,
Tell
your
the
eyes
truth.
are wide open at that point. But as far as I heard someone mention also being an example, and we've had this
Mm-hmm.
conversation before on just being an
Yes.
example. And I was trying to think of a time where I was not, or at least the assumption that a young child, black child, you're always an example. In your adolescence, you're usually an example to your siblings. When you get older and you start dating, and then what's a question that some women ask? How do you treat your mother? So now you're an example. That example shows how you may treat her. Then you marry her. Now your kids are watching, and now
Mm-hmm.
they're watching. How do you treat mommy? So then
Right.
they're picking up. It's like, wow, like that example, that level of somebody's always watching, it's always there.
Right. So
Whether you want to deny it or not, it's there. Somebody's watching you as an example.
right. You want your kids to imitate structure, not dysfunction. And
Yes.
that is so right. Let me do this. Let me read this. I have two super chats here. We got Spillage Village gives me a $10 super chat. Thank you.
Thank you for the super chat.
Spillage Village says this: statistically, if people graduate high school and wait until marriage to have kids and have kids after 18, their minimum chances of falling into poverty value roadmap for our future households. What do you think about that, Identity Withheld?
Yeah, I think that's in a nutshell. It's saying if we're more careful with how we kind of map out our progression through life of, through teenage, early adult. Like if it's not, you're not dealing with early being a mother or father at 15, 16, and then having to deal with life, because life still goes whether you have a baby at 16 or 26, but you're a
True.
little more prepared at 26. You're not forced into it at 16. I mean, I'm sure we all have family that have been through that, that level of struggle trying to raise a kid and you're still a kid.
Hmm.
I mean, I think that's what that statement is touching on. Just if we kind of follow that roadmap, it kind of minimizes the chances of I mean, actually too, you're getting your finances together in an early age, right? You're 18, 20, 22. That's kind of when you're getting your finances, or at least your future of how you're going to plan to take care of a family or be a part of the family. So I think that's what they're touching on. I agree with it. I agree with it.
Hmm. Hmm. And Empress Queen gave me a $5 super chat. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for the super
Keep
chat.
dropping the gems, she says. And of course, Bella was up here. Brown girl Bella was up here, gave me the 1908. Very nice touch on that, sister, saying great live stream. Thank you for extending your panel to me. Happy Father's Day. Fantastic. And
Thank you for the super
Can I
chat.
can I well, not deviate, but can I kind of mention something as well, as far as like just black manhood and as far as the experiences I've had?
yes.
The idea that masculinity is a bad thing. I
Hmm.
feel like that's like destroying that level of responsibility that's typically held as a male. Um, you know, um, and I feel like it's now being attached to this word toxic. And
Right.
the interesting part is, and correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of I guess a lot of women that actually mention this whole toxic masculinity, they're usually doing it in a masculine manner, which is I scratch my head on that like, wait, so is it bad or not? But I don't like that label of it, because I feel like that's part of the balance, and it's only part of the balance, and I'm going to say the word, femininity, because for some reason it became taboo somewhere down the line. I think brown girl Bella mentioned, serving her family members. Any woman out there that thinks that that's just serving the man, rethink that. That's serving the family.
Hmm.
That's serving the family structure. It's beyond just serving that man. I mean, obviously, I'm thinking if you're in that building of the institution of marriage and family, and
Hmm.
so many times I hear about women getting shamed for
Hmm.
being that rock, for being
Well,
that piece to the puzzle. And it's like, why are we saying this is a bad thing if it's serving the family?
right. And the reality is, as a man, we go to work, we do whatever we have to do so that we can be in better service to our family. And I think
Yes.
both women and men, we need to look at that. We're in service to our family and we are in service to each other, because that is the basics of everything, family. And so therefore that means you make sacrifice and you support each other and treat each other with the respect that you deserve. And that's what we should be doing. And
Yeah.
so this is why recognizing Father's Day for what fathers do. And that's why I said earlier in the program that fathers are more than a tie, some socks that we get today and all that. It's more to us than those physical items or clothing items. There's more to our essence as to what we mean, what we represent to family, to our wives, our children. And even if you have kids and you're not married or not, the point is you mean a lot more than the physical aspects of the materialistic things. Let me just say that materialistic aspects. Identity withheld. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to wrap this up. We got my man, Yapo in the house. Let me give him a clap. He's been rocking with me for a long time. Happy Father's Day to you, brother. Thank you for coming over and watching the program, Yapo. We'll be talking soon, brother, because I know you've been working on a book. You got a website. We're going to talk about this. Brother is amazing. dealing with hell as I get ready to go, and I'm gonna let Brother Earl Owens say a few words too, if he would like. But as we get ready to conclude, because I got my young one being dropped off to me over here, so I've got to end very soon. Spend some time with her. Anything else you want to add?
Outside of plugging myself, like I said, I'm learning this whole, being a father. I haven't been a father long, but I know a part of me. It's I'm doing this part because I've never seen it before. As
Mm-hmm.
far as that ideal father, I know it doesn't exist. The ideal, there are some caveats to that, but I'm going to get as damn close as I can. That's the goal. And even
Right.
if I come up short, it's better than what I've ever seen. So, but
Right.
I have to understand that I have to own that. I
Mm-hmm.
have to own that, regardless of what people think of me or
Mm-hmm.
think of. I hate the word simping, and especially when you're talking about someone who's married. Because again, I have to be that example for my child. How do I look like treating the mother like trash, or anything, less than what she should be treated, and my kids watching, and now I got to, I'm going to have to deal with that when they get older, because now they don't understand. No, this is not how you do it. It's like, well, this
Mm.
is how you did it, Dad. So I'm being careful with that. So, and I know you got
Right.
to go. I'm going long-winded, but
That's
for
okay.
me, I keep saying I'm going to wrap up my channel, but I've been doing so many fatherly things. I do have I'm actually releasing my music on live streams right now.
Mm-hmm.
So not live streams, on music streams. So look out
Mm-hmm.
for Melanated Greatness. I made that track. I didn't even know I could do it, but I did it, and I think it came out really decent. It's on my YouTube channel. It will be on
Mm-hmm.
Spotify and all that probably in the next week or so.
Well, yeah. Let me know. I'll try to look. What is the name under? Because I got Spotify. I can find
Melanated
it.
Greatness.
Okay, I'll look that up on my phone. 'Cause I have Spotify. I got podcasts, all that kind of stuff. I'll look that up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome, and you're welcome back here anytime again, my brother. So keep working on what you're doing. And when you're ready to start really launching the content out there, let us know so that we can promote the channel, let people know what you're doing, and really do it heavily.
I appreciate you, bro.
I appreciate you too. Most definitely. Definitely.
I'm gonna. Yeah, I know you gotta go. Have a good night, everybody. Again, Info Man, everybody on the panel. Thank you for the time. Great convo.
Oh, thank
See
you,
all the
brother.
rest-
Thank you very much. Let me do this. We got Creatively Created, the Triple C families in the house here. Very supportive of my channel. Thank you, sister. And see, I realized today was a different audience because, a lot of people are with their family, with their fathers, so that, they're not watching YouTube in high numbers. And I also know this is not a type of sexy content that's going to bring a lot of people over because, a lot of people have their stereotypes about black men, right? A lot of people are stuck in their ways about us because of whatever bad experiences they might have had with a black man that didn't operate in a proper manner. Please do not stereotype all black men for maybe your bad experiences, whether it be in relationships or anything like that. Do not let those experiences paint the picture for all black males. We are fathers. We work hard. We are protectors of our family. We're lovers. We're all these things. And certainly there are those men out there that ain't doing what they're supposed to do that really put a bad stain on our image. But this is why we have to change that narrative and speak like this, because there are some of us out here who don't fit the stereotypical narratives or even fit the bad experiences that you might have had in relationship with men who may look similar to me. Earl Owens, brother, your last words as we get out of here. Thank you for joining me for the whole show. Are you there, brother? Hello? Earl Owens, are you there? So it looks like he may not be, he's on here, but I think his audio may not be turned on. So I'm going to just say, I'm going to clap to you, brother. Thank you for coming on today. And I wish you could hear me right now, but I think maybe you might have stepped away from your phone or your computer, or maybe there's something going on with your audio. Sleeping Beauty, the Beast. How you doing, my sister? I'll give you a clap. Let me take over the screen. I hope Earl Owens is okay. I hope he's going to be okay. I hope nobody snatched him up or anything like that. Thank you again. Once again, this is Black Fathers Do Matter. This is Father's Day. I want to say thank you to all the folks that came on the panel today. Thank you to all the audience that did stick around from beginning to finish with this program today. Share this in your social media. Of course, this isn't going to get the big views that other things that I do get because, you know, people have their thoughts about black men. And when you put a video saying black fathers do exist, what? People have a lot of stereotypes about us and feelings about us because of maybe their personal experiences, anecdotal experiences. And so this isn't it's a shame, but it's just not sexy to people. It isn't. But it doesn't matter because we're going to still change these narratives. So I want to thank all the fathers out there, the black fathers in particular. Have a great day. This is our day. And keep doing your thing. Keep being the father you are and taking care of your kids and change the narrative. I thank everybody out there that was on the panel. Again, everybody in the chat room. Brother Yalpo, who came over. I love you, brother. Everyone. Identity with Hell was incredible. Vaughn 11, good to see you back over here. It's been a minute since I've seen you. And I got a super chat, and I really appreciate this.
Thank you for the super chat.
Thank you for that super chat. I appreciate that. I would play the super chat music and the whole 9 yard, but I got to end the program. But I want to say to Deborah Gunn, she says, I am awesome, Aunt Debbie. Another great panel. Happy, blessed Father's Day, info man and dads. Thank you, sister. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Deborah Guns.
Thank you for the super
I
chat.
highly appreciate you. You've been rocking over here with the channel, supporting the channel. Rainer Slate, I thank you. Hey, everybody that did come over today to watch this, thank you. I know it wasn't it's not the sexy topics like talking about, Monique. And of course, we already know the breaking news out there is that Monique has apologized to DL Hughley's family. She did not apologize directly to DL, but she has apologized to his daughters and the wife, which is very good that she did that. Now, I heard this happen. I was listening to Sweetie Pie Diaries. I want to say shout out to that sister over there. She got a great channel, Sweetie Pie Diaries. Sweetie Pie Diaries. I was listening to her late last night, and she broke the story on her channel saying that she was doing a concert, and in the middle of the concert on stage, she broke out emotionally, gave an emotional, heartfelt apology to DL's daughters and wife, but did not do a direct apology to him. It was mostly for his family, but I still have to say kudos for her at least doing that because, that's what you got to do. So I appreciate everybody. Take care of yourself. We're going to get ready to get on out of here. Thank you for that super chat again. I appreciate you. Thank you, everybody, and take care.
Tell the truth.
Peace.
Information is power. You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure you subscribe to his channel.
Yo. Raising the Tobagos, we growing like fresh tomatoes. Them boys on fire, too fuego. We pass it round, hot potato. Everything is nuevo. I'm with my sweetie like Quavo. Need my cheese, need that queso. Need my bread, need that bankroll. Wake up, yes, Lord, I'm thankful. Another day on my schedule. Steady blocking the devil. I tell a hater, God bless you. Cherish moments that special. You gotta keep the memento. If you love me, then I love you, and I could never forget you. Some memories don't fade. Sometimes you miss the old days, but nothing change less you change. What's around you, how you think,
Tell the truth.
how you live, how you speak, how you walk, how you blink, how you talk, how you teach, how you reach, let it sink. What's your purpose? What's your passion? Through the pain, what's your plan? Is it plane?
On a plane, hydroplane, I'm just playing. What's your purpose? What's your passion?
Did it pain?
What's your play? Is it play? On a plane, hydroplane, I'm just playing.
I beat by Joby, feel like Obi-Wan Kenobi, cause I'm a star and they can't hold me like I'm Kobe in the fourth. Yeah, nothing is ever forced. We headed straight to the source. No middleman, little man. Let me show you if you was lost. It's a couple college courses, but I ain't finished that shit. Been chasing dreams since 17, so yeah, I've been on my shit. Yeah, we loaded up the vault and had to empty the clip. Remember days times we wasn't paid and had to roll up the clips. Now the herbs be extra strong and they come in a zip. People say we taking long, but we ain't rushing with shit. Put the plans in God's hands and he gon' bless us with riches. I ain't tripping over shit because I'm watching my step. Putting money on the phone, could dab and call and collect. All on respect, I can't lie, I'm just here for a check. Just to build my family out and to buy a family house. A lot of people only talking, put your money where your mouth is.
Some memories don't fade, sometimes you miss the old days. But nothing changed unless you change what's around you, how you think, how you live, how you speak, how you walk, how you blink, how you talk, how you teach, how you reach, let it sink.
What's your purpose? What's your passion? Did it pay? What's your plan? Is it plane? On a plane? How'd you play? I'm just playing. What's your purpose? What's your passion? Did it pay? What's your plan? Is it plane? On a plane? How'd you play? I'm just playing.
And then you will go away. I'm not gonna be begging you to stay. Said maybe if you asked me yesterday, I would handle this shit differently. Things are different, I'm a new me. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. So even if you're asking, even if you're asking, 'cause I do what I do, and it's time for something new, yeah. Gotta know when to let go. Gotta know when to let go. Gotta know when to let go. Sometimes getting out can make it grow. Can make it grow. Can make it grow. Ooh. Don't wanna be stuck in a spot, telling you it ain't what I got. Don't wanna be stuck in a spot, 'cause I don't really like what I got, so I changed it bit by bit. It's not ungrateful, just being helpful for me and you. 'Cause we gotta go our own way, gotta go our own way, yeah. This was not a good stay, gotta go our own way. 'Cause I do what I do, and it's time for something new, yeah. Gotta know when to let go. Gotta know when to let go. Gotta know when to let go. Sometimes getting out can make it grow.
Tell the truth.
Can make it grow. I don't appreciate the change. Now there's nothing here for me.
Tell the truth.